Are you sitting down? Good, because this is a special report. The Journey into Comics Network is proud to present The Poor Report, your one-stop shop for everything news and topics of personal interest. Tune in every other Tuesday for exciting new episodes. And now, back to your regularly scheduled podcast.
The following is a Journey into Comics Network production.
Warning, Podcastrophe imminent. Join me, Dick, on a podcast about music, movies, television, all with a taste of metal. This is Podcastrophe.
Hello, everybody. It's Dick again. This is episode 2 of Podcastrophe. And today with me, I have, once again, my podcasting training wheels, Mr. Branden Stone.
Still here, the wheels are not off yet.
And to my left, I have Mr. Maxson.
Yo,
How are you guys doing today?
excellent.
That's good.
Doing
That's
well.
good.
How are you doing, Dr.
Oh.
Dongo?
I am quite excellent myself. It was a long day at work, but
Indeed.
we got through it. Me and Branden did. Well, despite the fact that we were in completely different parts of the plant today.
I would say we have two different definitions of long day
Yeah.
right now.
What's your definition?
I ran my ass off, okay? In place of you.
I was supposed to train a new temp that he's been training already for quite some time, and he is quite the temp, the temporary.
It's just at that point where he's not quick enough, so you have to to get him to do like part of the job that you need him to get better at doing. You pretty much have to keep up with your own stuff and check his stuff, which means you're running back and forth for pretty much 2 hours straight. And I almost had to train him a second time that day.
Oh, jeez.
But
Yeah, I was gonna say I was supposed to train him I was supposed to train him the first and second time, and
yeah.
both times because I'm the guy that they send out for bitch work.
Today it was, yeah.
Yeah, well, normally I am.
Is it?
I
Well-
always have been since I first started there. I don't know why they just like send Blaine out.
Yeah,
He'll
that's
do
always
it.
fun.
So I had to go out to trim and check a bunch of bullshit.
Thankfully, they had him go train on something else, and so I
that's-
I got to relax a little bit, and just like it's funny how doing your normal work is now then regarded as almost like a vacation.
Yeah.
In that it's like I'm still working, but at least I'm not training and running. So
Yeah. So yeah, now that we got that out of the way, I saw a meme yesterday, and
Me too.
oh wow, we come on, we see a lot of memes every day.
Meme
This
lords.
one, yes, this one caught my attention because of something that premiered the other day, and the meme said the 4 worst things America has done to Japan. The first 2 were Big Man and Little Boy, the 2 atomic bombs dropped on Nagasaki and Hiroshima. The next one,
Pretty bad things.
yes.
Relatively.
Relatively,
bad-
I
bad
feel they
trade.
were necessary, but still very bad. And they ushered in, the nuclear age, which fucks us up hardcore.
We'll save that for another episode
Yes,
of
yes.
Podcastrophe.
that's
The
the,
third-
next deep episode.
Oh,
of
yeah.
Podcastrophe.
The
Deep
third,
cuts.
oh yeah, the third thing was Dragon Ball Evolution.
yeah, that was quite the experience. Watching that, I was searching for the right word.
Oh,
I'm
man.
not sure any word really. Like,
I'm very fortunate to an extent because the only version of that I've watched is the Team 4-Star, who they're the guys that do the Dragon Ball Z Abridged. They did a riff track of it.
Okay.
So I got to just basically listen to it being made fun of the whole time. So it was so much better. So much better. Without actually giving it away, do you guys have any guess of what the 4th thing is?
I know exactly what it is.
You know exactly what it is.
Is this the current make of Death Note?
Yes.
You are correct.
It sure is. Death Note. And I couldn't agree more. Despite never actually seeing the original Was it a series or a movie or both?
It was a manga that was
Yeah.
adapted to a series, an anime series,
Okay.
and then it's most recently been adapted by an American director into a movie,
Yes, specifically for Netflix.
and it was bad.
Yeah, the trailer looked really good, for the most part.
Trailer for BVS doesn't look that bad either.
You are correct. You are very correct. But
Has to be
great.
scared for Justice League, by the way, because that last trailer was badass.
Oh man, you're right.
They always find a magical way to make it awful. Just
Oh,
when
yeah.
you think it was okay, they're like, actually, we still got a half an hour of bullshit for you.
I'm not gonna. We're not getting into it. We're not getting into it.
We have hit that hammer to that nail enough on Journey into Comics.
I haven't hit it, so I'm just gonna say just one thing. If it was edited and put together better, it would have been better.
I still think it's kind of like at most a 7 out of 10. It's enjoyable if you go into it knowing what Snyder kind of does and how he does it. Yeah, knowing what the expectation is, it's not a bad film to sit through, but it just has bad dialogue. It's sort of badly written and then badly kind of like put together, but the pacing is off. So, but
Still seen worse movies.
Yes,
I have.
much
Yes,
worse.
I have.
Like
Yes, I have.
Suicide Squad.
Don't
Wow.
have very many good things to say about Suicide Squad.
I have
either.
nothing good to say about it besides Will Smith and
I only
Margot
go to the
Robbie.
movie theater maybe 4 times a year if I'm lucky.
Yeah.
And I went for Suicide Squad and I was disappointed.
I was as well. I still
Almost
bought
as
it.
disappointed as when I went and saw the Dark Tower most recently.
Oh no! See, I've been holding off on that because I heard it was very mediocre.
If you don't compare it to the books at all and you just go in it and watch it as a movie, kind of like probably with what you're thinking with Death Note. It's
Okay.
just- if you're just going in with a totally clean slate, it's all right. But if you're trying to compare it in any way to the source material, it's just like have no idea what you were even going for. It's like you watched the entire, like you read the whole book series one time a decade ago. And then you were like, I'm going to make a movie about it.
Trying to remember.
Oh,
it.
yeah.
And you don't remember the order of anything. And next thing you know, you've spliced 4 books worth of material into
That's
an
awful.
hour and a half.
That's awful.
Yeah.
Because they wanted to do, then they wanted to do like movie and then a series and then
They're not off to a good start.
no.
With Death Note, I had never read. I'd never read it. Never saw the anime. I got home roughly 6:30 Sunday morning from a drunken night in Delphi, and I was just wide awake because I just slept for 5 hours sobering up, and I was like,
How wild can a night in Delphi be?
it wasn't that wild, but I had a lot of beer and then a really drunken walk, 25-minute walk back to my dad's house, and in that time I managed to get my blood flowing. All the blood in my alcohol, or the alcohol in my blood, traveled to my brain, and thus I'm guessing that's how the science of all this works. It made me drunker. So, yeah, I got home and I was wide awake at this point. So I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna watch something. Oh, fuck it, I'm gonna watch Death Note. Let's see what this is about.
So you watched it wasted.
I was sober.
Oh, you sobered up.
I sobered up and I fell asleep and sobered up in the process. Woke up real early in the morning. I'm like, I'm just gonna go back to Lafayette, and so I did. Made it here. Popped on Death Note, and immediately I was like, I hate the main character's acting. Fuck this kid. And then Ryuk. I enjoy
Willem Dafoe.
Yeah, I really enjoy Willem Dafoe, but once again, he's just Willem Dafoe doing Willem Dafoe. He's really creepy, you know.
If you watch the anime, you're like, yep, absolutely. He
nailed it.
He absolutely nails it.
Awesome. Well,
They just missed points with everyone else.
as you can expect with Willem Dafoe, he typically nails anything.
I actually just saw an interview with him where he felt like he had no reason to study up on the source material for that. Like he said sometimes you do. He goes, sometimes you get a script and you read it and you feel like there's more that I need for this. He goes, but I saw the art for the character that he was voicing. He said he had the direction from the director, and he goes, and he's like, I'm just gonna kind of go into this and trying to shape this character with what I know.
Bravo to him, 'cause
Yeah.
I think he totally nailed it.
Awesome. Well, I haven't watched the live action.
It definitely
The
helps
movie.
that if you look at Ryuk, he looks just like Willem Dafoe
No.
in demon form. Well,
he might already be a demon. I mean,
he
is
played
very
the
malleable.
Goblin way too well. He could easily play the Joker. Yeah,
An old Joker, maybe. No?
an older Joker. Yeah.
Yeah, but then he's already played the Green Goblin, so that'd be kind of weird.
Well, let's go. Let's think about this here. So, Ryan Reynolds played Green Lantern and then nailed it as Deadpool.
J. Jonah Jameson is now playing
Commissioner Gordon.
Commissioner Gordon.
Who's another
That would
person?
only be
Just
Batman has now played the Vulture.
yeah, and then and then Daredevil now plays Batman. So
What is this world?
But
Holy shit.
but leaving Michael Keaton out of there because he nailed both characters.
Oh, of course. Yes. I thought he was
However,
good
the
both.
other people, I mean, besides J. Jonah Jameson, J.K. Simmons,
Dude, he was perfect as J. Jonah Jameson.
yes, and then what's his fucking name? Ben Affleck and Ryan Reynolds both sucked the first time around, and then they came back and saved it with their second characters. So, but yeah,
Redemption.
at its finest, I think. But anyways, so let's go ahead and get on to what we're going to talk about today, and that is Game of Thrones Season 7 in its entirety. We are reviewing the entire season.
All 7.
All 7 episodes. It was a short one, but the episodes were longer, so it kind of equaled out.
Yeah.
The last one was a mini movie.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
80 minutes.
It was even kind of cut differently than the episodes are normally
Yes.
done. Like just the way that they portrayed the story. Like it stayed with certain characters a lot longer than usually the show kind of bounces back and forth a lot to kind of tell their story. This one was like you're like almost a half hour in. You're like, when are we going to go back to the other story that's going on in Winterfell?
Yeah.
They saved that one.
They did.
They saved that. I don't know if they had any build up.
There was one more scene that they did before the climax of that.
And then they
Of
were
the
in.
Winterfell scene?
And it was
Oh,
busy.
wow.
By scene 2, they were
Yeah.
ready to do what they needed to do.
Well, yeah, you had that first scene with Peter Baelish, Lord Littlefinger.
Lord Finger.
Lord Finger. And Sansa, and he's basically saying, hey.
Oh, you're
I always imagine the worst.
Yeah, it's like, hey.
He's giving her like another
He
piece
is
of advice.
he is straight up splitting the line between Sansa and Arya, and she picks up on it.
Final nail in the coffin.
She picks up on it, and I think Arya was definitely I think he was trying to split them because he could tell Arya was onto him.
She found
And she
the
was just-
note in his room.
Yeah,
She knew for damn sure that it was him.
yeah.
and he wanted her to find it too.
Yeah, that's
Right.
that's also true. But he knew she was dangerous. He saw that fight between her and Brienne, and just knew this.
This is like another Stark that we
This is a
cannot
threat.
have around. If I want to, if my perfect plot is to go through, I cannot have yet another. Like one crippled Stark is one thing. Jon, he's easily dispatched of, sort of, because of.
He knew there was nothing he could do with Bran. I don't know
He's
why
not a Stark.
I don't know why he didn't turn tail after his encounter with Bran.
Yeah, that was
I
pretty
know,
cool.
right? Bran just looks at him like, I know what you fucking did. All of it.
Chaos is a ladder. It's like, how does he say that to you and you don't go, holy shit, I need to get the fuck
Yeah.
out of here right now?
But let's not forget, Bran is no longer a Stark. He is the three-eyed Raven.
Well, he's still got Bran in him.
Yes,
He just,
he does.
He's just seen
he's
so
a
many other
three-eyed
people's
Raven.
lives that it no
Oh.
longer really.
I have no idea what that is. I loved Sam's
Oh.
reaction.
Can we agree that the absolute funniest moment of the entire season?
I wonder, is it
It's
Davos?
It's when no.
Oh, damn it.
It's when Bran's like, Jon is coming home now with the Dragon Queen Daenerys Targaryen, and Sam's like, did you see that in a vision? And you just see his hand come up, and he's got the scroll.
He's like,
It's a
and he
no.
has like this shit-eating grin on his face, like, you stupid fuck.
Oh,
Sam, oh.
I think by far the funniest moment. I mean, that was a good one. Also with Sam's reaction to him being the three-eyed Raven. The funniest moment was the introductions between Daenerys and Jon Snow. Like Daenerys, of course, has this long
The 6 or 7,
train,
8.
this long train of titles,
burnt.
And then Sir Davos is like, "This is Jon Snow.
He's king in the north."
He's king in the north. That's it.
And everyone just looks at it. Even Tyrion just like, God damn it, guys. I really thought you'd come a little more prepared than this.
What a fucking resume. Yeah, he's king in the north. I mean, you could add a ton of titles to Jon Snow. I mean, he was Lord Commander of the Night's Watch. He didn't have a title.
He's the beater of bastards.
He's the beater. He's the
uniter of the wildlings.
He's the uniter of the wildlings. Well,
Lord
no,
Commander.
Mance Rayder already did that though.
Well, but then he also he stepped up, and then they follow him now in place of
Yeah,
Mance.
yeah. Or Tormund. They follow Tormund.
The Reborn.
But then Tormund.
The Reborn,
yeah, the Reborn.
yes.
But then Tormund also follows Jon too, so they follow his lead, and
yeah, true.
thus.
And then of course, like you said, the beater
And
of
I
bastards.
guess you could also refer to him as the rightful heir to the Iron Throne.
Yeah.
If you really wanted to, but that part's not so obvious to everyone.
They don't
just
know
yet.
that yet.
What are there? Two people.
Two people now that know. Yes. Well, I guess Gilly knows sorta, but she doesn't know the full yet.
She doesn't know. She just knows about
She
the
didn't even know how to say
annulment.
Rhaegar's name.
Rhaegar.
Rhaegar.
She knows about the annulment and the
She probably
marriage.
doesn't. But see, she's also like a wildling from the north, so she probably doesn't really understand
She's
the
like-
levity of everything.
This is cool. Words. I'm reading.
Oh,
I know
look
how
at
to read
this.
now.
There's like 1,500 steps in the Citadel.
They're just
Sam,
they're
it's
kids'
like
books to her.
fucking
The
cool.
bunny hopped through the path.
He wrote
like,
15.
Prince Rhaegar was an old. What does an old mean?
Samuel is just like, fucking cool. So many steps. I have to climb them carrying buckets of shit. Awesome. This is what I thought it was. I'm going home.
Oh, yeah.
What significance do you think Sam is gonna play?
I don't know. I thought he was gonna be I thought he was gonna come home and be like, I don't even know what he was gonna come home and be like, because at the same time, like, I've been thinking this whole time, like, what's his punishment gonna be for stealing all that shit from the Maesters and from just ditching?
That time's past. Winter's here.
Yeah, winter is
They're not
here.
going to worry about punishing Samwell Tarly. They got to worry about the 100,000 not wildlings, but
The dead.
whites
Dead
coming.
wildlings.
Now Sam, he does have the proof of legality of Jon's lineage.
Yes.
Other than just
That's-
Bran's visions, other than what Bran can say, he can say it, but then Sam also has on paper, here's what is, I have the book from the Grand Maester, from the High Septon or whatever.
Yes.
In King's Landing, saying that he performed the annulment. So, and then they had a child, and so that means number one, Jon's not a bastard to anybody. And then his true lineage, and then between the two of them, they can make a good stand for Jon's rightful claim to the throne. But I don't think that it was said in the show explicitly who he was remarried to. I think it was just say he was annulled and then remarried in a secret ceremony. But
Yeah.
but in the show, then Bran sees it.
But what? How is Bran's word gonna hold up in whatever?
Now hold on.
So where are you getting your info, sir? I work into the trees and I look into the past. Oh, you don't say.
Really?
You don't say.
Well, I mean, Gilly was interrupted, so maybe it does say in the diary, that he kept who he secretly married.
Awful.
It was terrible. You didn't hear me, did you?
No, I
You
did
said
not.
in the secret diary, I'm like, of Jane.
Of Jane. No. But
Even less funny when it's brought back.
But then
I know.
beyond that, I mean, he's bringing all this information from the Citadel in regards to the Long Night and with the dead. So then he's bringing back all this knowledge that they can hopefully use to help combat the dead, other than just the Dragon Glass, which is why Gendry is now back in the picture, because I feel like he's gonna be forging a lot of these weapons.
That's exactly what I thought his purpose was, being reintroduced when he was being reintroduced.
Mm-hmm.
And then he went on that crazy mission.
Yeah, he went on that crazy mission
oh,
that
I
he
guess-
wasn't even part of.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're like, hey, go.
Do you feel like they're losing their, they used to have just this dagger they could hit you with emotionally. And then they send, 7 or 8 main characters beyond the wall. to do this crazy mission, and not a single one.
I was expecting.
Not a single one of them dies.
Not a single
yeah,
ones you
Thoros
care
does,
about.
But how on earth does not a single one of them die?
Well, they used that with the dragon, but he wasn't part of the original party. So, but yeah, you're right. I was expecting Tormund to die. I was expecting maybe the Hound to die. I was expecting somebody like that because you definitely care about those two characters, despite the Hound being an asshole most of the show and Tormund just being mostly comic relief and total brutality.
Yeah, I don't know what Tormund's role is going to be moving
Yeah,
forward.
And Tormund even survived the last episode when when the dead got to the wall.
Yeah.
Like we were all like, oh crap, there it is. This is where he goes. And my wife was like, no, he can't go. He's got to marry Brienne and make giant babies. and then I'm like, but that's not how this show works. And then everybody else dies, but him and like one other dude, it seems.
Bar-
I feel
Beric
like that's what I'm
Dondarrion.
getting, is that we've lost that in the past season or so, where it's just like they just refuse to kill anyone. It's called plot armor. You know, it's like no one. They're not going to kill off any of these people. It's like
That's what
I thought
season
that
8's
was the
for.
point.
That's what season 8's for.
One would think that more people are going to die in this last 6 episodes next year. Hopefully that's where they're going to lay these out, because you can't have all these characters out and just have like every
Before
single one.
Before the real battle.
Right, well, yeah. Well, I mean, because then we're going to have like some of these characters still have some closure that can be done. You know, like
That's true.
I felt like the Hound still has some closure. Obviously, we saw that in the finale with the Mountain.
Oh yeah.
And then also with
Oh,
Arya,
yeah.
maybe even just like a meetup.
How many people are left on her list?
Lots.
The Mountain, Cersei.
Was Peter Baelish wasn't on there, was he?
No.
Okay.
The Mountain and Cersei for sure. The Hound was on there, but I think she hasn't explicitly said that he's off. But I think her leaving him
Yeah.
was like she's kind of had a change of heart about him. Like she wasn't going to kill him, but she wasn't going to save him either. Because it really would have been hard for her to save him anyway.
Yeah.
But I think, he said, "Kill me." Fine, do it. You want to do it, and then she didn't do it. And I think her reluctance to do so was like, I've kind of had a change of heart about you, because I've seen that you are not exactly the person I thought you were, despite you doing these awful things. And I
Yeah.
think that was a bit of a change in character for her. One of the guys that she got was in Bravos.
Yeah.
Marin Trant.
Yeah.
Yes.
The lists are just a little bit different between the books and the show. I'm
Right.
trying to recall exactly. There's a lot more in the book,
Oh yeah.
and a lot more of them have just already died.
This is an interesting conversation, I think, because we have Nick over here who's read the books. Brando, you're very familiar with like the mythos, but you've also only watched the TV show.
Yes, I have not. I'm refusing to read the books until the show is over.
Okay.
I made that mistake, and I do kind of think it is a mistake in some ways with The Walking Dead. I got
Yeah.
into the show, and then during one of the breaks, I read all the books. And so while I have this cool thing where I know what's coming, don't know how they're going to do it or what they're going to change, there's some things I like in the show, and there's some things I like in the book. But to me, that also takes away the unpredictability of it. And while everybody says like, oh, this show's not is not unpredictable anymore, it's really not that unpredictable to me anymore.
Yeah.
Because I know exactly kind of like how they're going to frame their story, and I can use that to accurately predict.
Uh-huh.
For Game of Thrones, I don't have that, and I've never had that. And while I have started listening to like the audiobook for the first book, I've got like maybe an hour in, and I'm like, all right, you know what? I'm just going to wait. I want this to be a different experience. I want the books, because it is going to be a different experience,
Oh,
because
yeah.
George is going to take the story where he wants to take it ultimately.
And you're not going to be able to finish that story until you're an old man, so
Yes, exactly,
so you might as well hold off a little bit longer.
So we got books with Nick, show with Brando, and then myself. I have the show and my vast knowledge attained via Wikipedia,
Of course.
and partially from the history of Ice and Fire. Is it the World of Ice and Fire or History of Ice and Fire?
The World of Ice and Fire.
Okay, I have that. So not all of my knowledge is Wikipedia, Brandon.
There's a lot of info in that book that's not in any of the other books or
Oh,
the
I
show.
know, and it's such a fantastic book. If anybody ever wants it, I mean, it's probably like what, $25 now.
Yeah, something like
It
that.
was like 50 when we got it, but like it's just like this giant book full of like basically the entire history and mythos of Westeros and Essos, and it has like full family trees. It goes into detail on the histories of each of the lands and like that each of the houses control, and it goes way back, and it's fantastic.
I have Arya's list from the show.
Oh,
All right,
let's
let's
hear
hear
this.
All right, so it says the Hound, but again, we're not too sure if she's still going to go through with that.
Mm-hmm.
She might, because
I don't think it would make.
it doesn't make sense.
It doesn't make sense anymore.
Cersei,
Yeah.
the Mountain, the Red Woman.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh,
Melisandre.
because she bought
kidnapped.
Gendry.
Yeah, she
Oh.
kidnapped him, and then while they were with the Brotherhood, Barrack, he
Barrack.
sold
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Gendry,
Right.
and then Ilan Payne, he's the one who killed Ned.
What happened to Sir Ilan?
We haven't seen him in a long time.
He went with Jaime to River Run a couple seasons ago to lift the siege. But what happened to him?
The status, because they have a status, right?
There we go.
For each one, he says
Nice.
alive. We think we haven't actually seen him since season 2.
He was in another one. He was in season, I think 5 or 6 when Jaime went to River Run.
Mm-hmm.
He was definitely with him.
And then he is the last one. Of course, the others were Walder Frey, Joffrey, Tywin Lannister, Thoros of Myr.
Who was that?
That's Thoros. He's the guy that died in the.
He's the one that kept bringing Beric Dondarrion back to
Oh,
life.
okay.
He was a part of selling Gendry.
He did,
to
true.
Melisandre. Yeah, the white grizzly bear.
Yes.
He got bit up.
Meryn Trant. He's the guy that she got. He killed Syrio.
Yes.
Supposedly.
Yeah, supposedly. We don't see it, and of course that is like a big thing with this show. Is like if you don't see the death, it's often thought that it didn't happen. But we also didn't witness the death of King Robert. We didn't witness the death of his brother either, Stannis. But both are confirmed dead.
On the topic
Yeah.
of not seeing someone die and them possibly still being alive, despite the giant white dog pile, do you think Benjen Stark is still alive?
Absolutely dead.
He's fucking dead. He's done.
He is now dead again.
Yes. Cold Hands
Spoiler,
is gone.
because, they announced it.
Oh yeah.
Polliver. Now,
Yeah, Polliver was one of the Mountain's men.
Yes. Okay.
Arya and the Hound ran into him at an inn, and Arya killed him. Rorge.
I remember that.
Rorg.
Yep.
Rorge.
Rorgan Biter.
Yeah. Then also with the Hound, that's and Arya got him. So there's only a few left really, and I do wonder what role Melisandre is going to play, because then she was seen in this season only for a little bit.
2 episodes.
And she said she's coming back.
Yeah, she went over to Essos. Is that where she was
Yep.
going? I can't remember the name of the place where she's going.
Asshai,
Ashai.
maybe. I don't remember exactly.
I can't remember where, but she said that she's going over there, and then so we only have 6 episodes.
Yeah,
and
she
they
gave that really cryptic message to
Lord Varys.
Lord Varys, where she's like, I'm gonna die in Westeros,
Just like you.
just like you. I'm like,
Yeah.
oh.
See, it makes you wonder how much shit is going to hit the fan, because
All of it.
right, and you would almost expect it, because they've been building up to like that moment of the dead going past the wall since the first episode.
Yeah.
Since the first episode of the series, way back in 2011, we've been getting there, and now it's here. So now it's like I believe you said it, or somebody had said it, like the yin and yang of the ending of the seasons, where like the end of last season was the big shot of,
The big triumphant scene of
of Daenerys and her fleet and everybody traveling over to Westeros. This is it.
The fire's here.
Yeah, here she's coming, and now this one is the opposite, with the dead finally getting past the wall. Of course, with the new dragon rider, the Night King,
yes,
on his what can only be assumed is an ice dragon.
yes. It does damage ice.
Yeah. So,
Who said that? Somebody said that on my shit. I was like, God damn it!
It's super effective.
Super effective. Used ice beam.
Hey man, if it's colder than ice,
I I think it's Blue Flames.
Is he
Yeah,
Blue
it's
Flames?
I think
gotta
it's Blue
be.
Flames.
Which, if it's blue, I mean, science says blue flames are hotter, correct?
That's what science has told me, and in conjunction with Google, who is also like close to
Typically.
God as we've got. So.
Yes. Oh, Lordy.
Send your prayers and Googles.
Damn it.
Oh.
Help me, Almighty Overlord.
I kind of
Google.
feel I feel bad for Arya because she's had a lot of her revenge list taken away from her, and I don't feel like that's gonna stop because I don't see Arya killing Cersei. I don't see Arya killing the Mountain.
I think
Now,
we
hold
all
on.
know who's killing Cersei.
Jamie.
Jamie.
Oh,
Well,
yeah.
Okay, so
He's
Arya
the
got
Kingslayer.
Rorge, Arya got Polliver, Arya got
the Mad King.
Marin,
Someone
Arya
killed the
got
Mad Queen.
Arya did not get Thoros.
No.
He didn't, and she also did not get Tywin. She didn't get Joffrey.
She hasn't got the majority of them.
No.
She did get Walder
No.
Frey and the entire
Oh
family
my
of
God.
the Freys.
So that was such
Which-
a great final scene for her in season 6,
Which
and then
actually-
to open up season.
Yeah, that's
7.
what opens up the entire season. We should go back to that because when that whole thing started, I thought maybe it was a flashback.
Yeah, same here.
to, like maybe the Red Wedding, where maybe she's like, or maybe like it's like a backwards pondering of, and it's gonna tie back around,
Mm-hmm.
and then Walder starts talking, and I'm like, oh shit,
Oh no.
oh dude, shit's about to get real.
It took me a minute past that to realize what was going on because I'm sometimes slow like that. But yeah, that was such a fantastic opening. It's like, yes, get him, Arya. She's such a superstar in this whole series because you just root for her nonstop until this season. You start to kind of wonder about her with the whole splitting between her and her and Sansa.
Well, okay, so let's talk about that for a second because with these two characters, I noticed that Sansa's hairdo in the beginning of the season, and
Yes.
also the entirety of the season, is a match of Cersei's from the beginning of the series.
Yes.
So you're starting to see, and they even make reference to the fact that she idolizes Cersei, or she
learned a lot from
she
her.
learned a lot from her, and maybe she's going to model herself in her adulthood, maybe a little bit after Cersei as far as power goes.
Yeah.
Of course, that makes you scared and makes you wonder, how is Sansa going to mess this all up? But then with Arya, she is wearing very similar clothing and a hairdo to Ned.
Oh yeah, she's a mini Ned in these last couple episodes.
Yeah, but then again, it's almost kind of like she's almost gone a step farther than him because Ned is a little bit too honorable just to start killing people. You know, like especially for revenge, because I feel like Ned would be like, while he would want revenge, maybe that's not exactly like.
Send him to the wall.
Yeah,
Well,
there's so many people that he could have got revenge on for so many different things.
because Jon is like the closest thing to Ned 2.0 that we have.
Mhm.
He's just as stupid.
Clone, yeah, he's a clone of him.
He makes the exact same dumb, honorable statements, and everyone's just the whole thing.
I'm going south. Don't do that. I'm doing it.
Going, man.
Did you not see what happened to Ned's father, Ned's
His
brother, Rob, your mom,
It never worked.
or not even your
Starks
not
don't
your
go
mom.
south.
Nix that. Not his mom.
Yeah.
Catelyn Stark is not his mom.
No, never was. Even by just relationship, she wasn't. She was very detached to him.
His mom's Lyanna,
Hey,
Yeah.
who went south
next we meet.
and died.
Yeah, exactly.
Next we meet. Oh yeah, you're right. Fuck. But not in such a horrific way. She
Well, I mean,
died in childbirth, which
I'm
is
sure
much.
that's not great.
No, it's not. But it's not like deliberate like
Preferable.
murder. You know.
Sure.
But
And
you know,
he's about
next.
to get your throat open like half the other characters.
Yes. Next we meet, I'll tell you all about your mother.
yeah.
I never realized how the significance of that statement from episode 2 of the entire
There's so
series.
much that is foreshadowed. Like as much as George, when he wrote, like when he's written the books, he's like, I really don't know where I'm going. I just kind of let it happen, and that's why a lot of characters end up just dying because he's like,
Yeah.
well, I guess I'm going with that. And he's even expressed like, you know, sometimes I kind of wish I could just take it back, but that's my gut, so that's what he usually goes with. But then again, he with all this foreshadowing, with all this lore, there has to be somewhere in the back of his mind. bullet points for where he wants to go.
I would argue that the latter part of your argument, that I think that he's got it so intricately weaved. You look back at the details, and at least in the books, you know, it's one thing whatever Dan and Dave are doing with the show, but
Yeah.
there's just those unbelievable details in the books that he says the first couple chapters of the first book, and then 5 books later, 4,000 pages later, that one little detail makes such a difference. So while he may, I can see where he's like, maybe I shouldn't have killed off all the Starks in that one scene, but I think for the most part he's got a really good grip on his story, like Tolkien-esque grip on his story.
I mean, kind of like in my opinion, this is like our era of like
Oh, yes,
a
for
Tolkien
sure.
type story.
Absolutely. The first book came out in 91.
Yeah.
And he'd been a writer since the 70s. And I wouldn't consider myself necessarily a writer, but when I'm writing a story or something, it takes me a very long time to formulate it. And it ain't nowhere near as intricate as what he's doing. So when it's like, when people give him shit about taking so long writing, it's like, I imagine he wakes up every single day and goes, how the fuck am I going to write this chapter? Because I've written 5,000 pages worth of stuff leading up to this book. I can see where, it's been...
Is the Winds of Winter...
2011 is when Dance of Dragons came out, I think.
Is Winds of Winter considered the last book? Or
No, there's one more out.
Prayer for Spring.
Oh, wow.
Now...
Whole other book. He's gonna be dead. He's gonna be fucking dead before that one's out. He's gonna be dead before Winds of Winter's done.
Shut your whore mouth.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry, but like I go back to the meme of him in like one of those like clear giant hamster balls, and it says, "And here we see George Railroad Martin doing every possible thing but ride the book."
Railroad Martin.
Wow. I don't know if I've ever heard that.
You haven't heard that?
I've not heard.
Oh, I hear that
Railroad.
frequently on some of the podcasts that talk about Game of Thrones. Like, I think Game Over Greggy, Greg Miller calls him. All of them call him that. But yeah,
My favorite podcaster refers to Sansa as Sandra because in one of the episodes with little Lyanna Mormont, she calls Sansa Sandra.
by accident, like the line, the flub
They
the line.
didn't edit it. She straight up refers to her as Sandra, and it's like, how did no one catch that? So that's pretty
Good job, HBO.
On what was it? Beyond the Wall, when they're running to that middle island. Did you see the crew trucks?
I heard that was from a behind the scenes shot. I don't know though. I saw the picture and I thought it was rather funny because it blends in so well.
I feel like we rewatched
but it's there.
it. But my thing is too is how do you not just fix that and then sometime in the middle of the night
add a little
just
blur
switch it and it's not there anymore.
Add a little
I
blur to the
thought I
frame.
saw it too. So when I actually saw it pop up on the internet, I was like, holy shit.
I remember hearing like somewhere in season 1 or 2 when someone's in King's Landing, you can hear like a cell phone ringing. Like someone had their cell phone on them, and so when they're walking, and you can just hear it. It's not super loud, but you can definitely hear it in the mix. They haven't bothered to take it out. But they take out Bush's face or that head that was George W. Bush.
Yeah.
What?
Okay, after in season 2, or is that
season 2?
Was it season 2 or was it the last episode of season 1?
I think it actually is the last episode.
Heads
of
on the
season 1.
spikes.
The heads on the spikes, where they killed Ned and they killed like all the like the big people from like the party that was there with Ned.
Yeah.
When they were making like the props for the heads, they found this mask or head for George W. Bush, and they sort of made it up with different hair, and it's him. And really, when you see the picture before and after, because they got so much heat, they had to go back and change it. Because they thought they were making some sort of political statement. They're like, that's just something we found in the prop room.
Good job, Kathy Griffin.
The epitome of doing something politically charged to make yourself relevant again. Does anyone find her funny? Here,
I never really
be
did.
honest. We can fight about this for a little bit.
Not that I
Game of
ever.
Thrones conversation gets askew because we start arguing about. Kathy
I mean,
Griffin.
if you listen to most of the podcasts on this Journey into Comics Network. It's full of tangents. It's tangents everywhere. So
Yes.
it wouldn't be shocking to the
No.
average Journey.
I've never found Kathy Griffin
No.
to be entertaining whatsoever.
Not even a little bit. Almost as bad as Queen Latifah.
She's. I think.
Didn't
no.
she used to do the music?
Wow. Okay.
I'm not gonna shoot myself in the foot, but I'll shoot myself in the foot. I think she's funny in some movies.
Didn't she used to do music?
Yeah.
Of
She
course,
was.
why not?
I believe she was
in
in
between
the.
her blockbuster films.
I believe she was in the cover of
Will Smith.
Lady Marmalade from Moulin Rouge.
What?
I'm pretty sure.
That was Christina. That
Aguilera,
was
Pink. It was an
Lil-
all-star mash.
Lil Kim. And there's one
Could've swore
more.
Queen Latifah was in that.
No.
I know Lil Kim was in it for sure.
Lil' Kim.
Lil Kim.
Lil Kim was in that. We said Pink, Christina. There's one more.
There's
I thought that was
there's a
Missy
ton
Elliott.
of-
That was just at
Missy
the beginning of the
Elliott.
song that never actually
Oh.
did anything in the song.
I don't know.
Missy.
Because she's like, it's Lady Marmalade, y'all, and then like she just says all the people in like the song.
Okay. I'm going to be the one that steers us back. I
Please.
don't want to talk about Moulin
Please.
Rouge anymore.
Thank you.
Okay. Let's see. What else we got going on? Might as well touch on the John and Danny thing. You guys be feeling weird about it? What do you think?
I've never. Okay, I felt weird about it. I was like, you know what? It's not gonna happen. It's not gonna happen. I see the eyes. I see the exchanging glances. But I'm like, it's not gonna fucking happen. They're not gonna do that. And then literally the next morning, I was like, I even made a status. I'm like, or no, I posted a meme and I was like, you know what? Targaryens are known for incest. Even, I mean, they don't even. He doesn't even know he's a Targaryen.
You think it's just in their blood, in their DNA? To
And then, like, as the
wanna
season
fudge each
goes
other?
on, I'm just slowly coming to terms with it, and I'm just like, I've never rooted for incest more in my life.
And then when it
And I'm
finally
from
came,
Carroll
you
County.
just saw a bunch of John ass.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I mean, the whole thing ends with like wild boat sex. So
Yeah.
I haven't seen that much ass since I watched Sons of Anarchy.
You
Lots
watched
of
Spartacus?
no. Besides
an
that
insane
one.
amount of ass.
you know,
And an unfortunate amount of dong.
Yes.
Richard refuses to watch Game of Thrones.
Yeah.
because of the amount
Okay.
of
So
dong
I
that's
want
in
to
this
talk
show.
about that. Yeah.
And there's
he's
more, but he's a big fan of Spartacus.
Oh yeah.
That makes absolutely no sense.
I
Right.
brought that up to him. Our friend Richard at work, he says, I refuse to watch Game of Thrones. I'm like, why? And I thought he was gonna pull one of those like everybody watches it. I'm just not into. He's going against the grain type thing. And no, he says there's so much penis in it. I'm like, there's not that much penis in it.
I'm having a hard time remembering more than one or two.
There's only a few.
There's several throughout the entire series, but they don't really. I don't know. It's not fairly obvious sometimes. But
Like the only one I actively remember
Hodor?
is Theon's.
Oh, I don't remember Theon's.
That's the only one that came to my mind. Was
Oh,
that.
Hodor.
What about Hodor?
Hodor.
Really?
Yeah,
Yeah.
dude, he's got like his third arm down there. It's like almost to his knees.
I don't remember
Because it's right after Bran gets saved by Robb and Theon from the Wildlings, and what's her name, Osha?
Yeah.
Osha's with Bran, and then Hodor comes down there to the pond or to the lake to take a bath, and she goes, "That one's got giant's blood in him."
I don't remember that
So
at all.
I remember that one, but Theon, I remember he's like plowing his little like horror chick friend.
She has a name.
I know, but I don't remember it.
Yeah.
She's got red hair, right?
Ross.
Yeah. Yes, Roz.
So he's like hate fucking her at this point because
Oh yeah.
because
Just fucking giving it to her.
and then like they go from that to him being done and it just being full flaccid. And I don't know how anybody could film that scene. I would be completely incapable
I
to
agree.
pretend to have sex and not be anything aroused. Like maybe it's different.
She's a good-looking lady, too.
Exactly.
Yes.
But maybe it's different with like a whole room of like full of like production people.
Sure.
But maybe got some like performance anxiety. But
Or maybe he's just fucking professional, okay?
that there's
I'm
that.
sure Alfie is a complete professional.
But no, so Richard says he doesn't want to watch it because of all the dongs, and then a couple days later he brings up Lucy Lawless and Spartacus. He's like, dude, you see her naked, and I was like, hold the fuck on. I called him out. He was like at work. He was 2 stations ahead of me on the opposite side of the cars, and I heard this, and I said, Richard, what the fuck? And he's like, what? Like, we're just shouting across the line. And I was like, you won't watch Game of Thrones because you think there's too many penises, but you'll watch Spartacus? And then I explicitly gave him the ratio. I said, for every penis in Game of Thrones, there are 6 of them in Spartacus. In one
you did
shot.
Your research.
No.
We went from talking about Moulin Rouge to talking about dicks.
63% of all statistics are made up on the spot. So no research done.
All right. Speaking of dicks,
let's
go on to the cock list.
That is in
what
the
do we
72.
think about? What do we think about the number of times that he brought up the word cock?
Oh, that was a great conversation.
Yeah,
that like
so much.
to open the show with. Nonetheless, he's like
way too much dick talk. But that's not the cock list I was talking about. Theon. What do you think about Theon?
Oh,
do you think he's gonna just
his
blow
rise?
it?
I don't think so. I mean they put too much effort into showing him like, you know, rise up from his little weak self and like standing up to that one dude.
You know, just waves for fucking 3 or 4 seasons now. It's like,
oh
dude,
no,
I'm
specifically mentioning like this one scene in the season finale where he says, you know what, fuck this, I'm Ironborn, I'm gonna make you fucking listen to me.
We'll see how it goes.
Yeah.
Well, I thought he was rehabbed, and then you saw him jumping off the side. The laugh that Euron lets out.
Oh my god!
Right when Theon jumps over was me. When we're sitting there watching it, I was just dying. I was like, of course you just jumped over the edge. Like, nah.
I didn't laugh, but I was just like, you fuck. I hate you.
It was so good.
I was like, classic Theon Greyjoy right there.
Classic Theon, and then Euron laughing like that was just like, yep, like absolutely.
So all the planning that goes into this sort of siege of Westeros really just goes to shit right away.
Yeah, right away. Episode 2.
Like, because here's Daenerys, and she's making alliances with Dorne and with Highgarden, with the Tyrells, and literally, like, either Jaime or Cersei or a mixture of both predict exactly kind of what they're going to go for, and with Euron, with the fleet, just completely neuter them to the point where it forces Daenerys' hand to bring out the Dothraki, even though she's trying to hold them back because she didn't want people to see, you know, these crazy wild motherfuckers riding, you know.
First Tyrion's plan of he doesn't want the straight up over like outright siege. He wants to play it smart. Right.
But see, and that's where like it's interesting because we always throughout the series we see Tyrion as a pretty decent tactician.
Yeah.
He's a pretty smart guy.
And then he blows it this season.
I know.
Every move he makes is totally anticipated.
But every move he makes so much sense in terms of like
that's
what they
every
want
one of
to
us
do.
sat there and said that makes sense.
We're like, yes, that's totally awesome.
Jaime and Cersei. Like, yep, that does make perfect sense. So we're going to be able to combat that easily.
Like everything Tyrion was saying, they're like, she's right. She's telling them that you're a fucking savage. And of course, it cuts to the throne room, and she's like, they are fucking savages. They're gonna burn you alive and eat you and all kinds of shit. She didn't say that directly, but
she alluded.
Yeah.
Hardcore.
But and then all their plans go to complete shit. And Daenerys' hand is forced, and she's like, I'm tired of listening to you. I'm taking my dragons.
And then we get the Spoils of War episode where you had Jaime and the Lannister army just take Highgarden. Okay, you had the Unsullied take Casterly Rock when there wasn't enough Lannister forces there to really defend it. They let them take it.
Yeah, and I don't know how many.
And then they were blockaded by.
And then they just abandoned it.
Yeah, I don't know how many losses they suffered at that battle either. Probably not terribly much.
For the Unsullied, it didn't really seem like it was like terribly bad for them, but like literally, like if I remember correctly, the whole plan was it was for Jaime and forces to take Highgarden, take their gold, bring it back to King's Landing, and then from there, the Unsullied would have no other choice but to cross Westeros, and the Jaime's army was going to cut them off, and there was going to be a battle. They never got there because while Jaime's army was still recuperating and resting from the battle at Highgarden, the money and the gold had they gotten ahead of them, and they say we need to double time and we need to catch up, and the money does make it to King's Landing to help pay back the debts that have accrued for the seasons.
So she can take out a new loan.
Exactly. But then, like, while they're like, before they can even really get back on the road, that's when the Dothraki, led by Daenerys, shows up, and of course she's riding Drogon.
Oh yeah,
and it is always so cool each time like a new character in Westeros sees the dragon for the first time, because they all have the exact same look.
Just utter terror.
Oh yeah.
Fuck.
I never realized how big Drogon was until that specific scene. Maybe it was another scene, I don't know, but I was just like, so you see, let me paint the picture for you. You see Jaime and Bronn, and they're doing their thing, getting the convoy going, and out of nowhere you hear the Dothraki coming. The
thunderous hooves.
The thunderous hooves of the Dothraki horde. And they're
Screamers.
like, huh?
The Dothraki screamers.
And they're like, and Jaime's like, hold the line, guys. We're going in. We're doing this. And then,
and he knew right then. Like he goes back to Cersei and immediately says, we cannot beat them.
Yeah.
Can't beat Dothraki. Can't beat the dragons. There's no way.
Like,
they just stomped
I'm not
the
gonna
floor
lie.
with us.
I already had chills just seeing the Dothraki horde coming. And okay, let's rewind a little bit, because just a little bit before that, there was another scene with Jon and somebody else, I think. Or no, either way, it was on Dragonstone, and they're like, well, where's Daenerys? And then it immediately cuts to Jaime and Bronn. I'm like, oh, fuck. I was like, oh, fuck.
That's when Theon arrived.
Yeah.
And then Jon went out to meet him.
So I already had chills from that, and then out of nowhere, the Dothraki horde. So my chills are intensifying, and as if like I couldn't get any more excited, down swoops the fucking dragon from the clouds in the most intense fucking fashion possible, and I just bust a nut.
I'm glad that we got a good fire battle. That was out
yes.
like Western style, like just fucking. And then the one up north where he's hitting the ice and it's just going everywhere. Epic fire, epic ice.
Yeah.
And it went bad both times. Like Drogon got hurt first time, and Viserion got just slightly wounded. Just
that
the
explosion, because Viserion was already breathing fire. So knowing like the imaginary biology of a dragon.
No way.
Yeah.
Continue, Dr. Donko.
I mean, based off of other movies, such as the classic Reign of Fire with Christian Bale and Matthew McConaughey. Oh, and Gerard Butler.
Because
there are two glands.
Because the way it works in that is directly related.
Totally. No, I mean, it just makes sense, I think.
Cool.
And like the spear hits him directly in the neck, and just explosion, and then just there was a second explosion of blood, like just raining down upon the ice. Shit.
Drogon's reaction.
Fuck!
Drogon was fucking pissed. But Drogon's just as fucking stupid as Daenerys and Jon. Like, you've seen all the like the Star Wars memes where like Princess Leia is sending the message, Obi-Wan, you're my only hope. And then it shows Obi-Wan, he goes, nope. And then it shows the credits, right?
Like, how it should have ended.
It's like you see Drogon swoop in, and even just taking a cursory glance, like, what do we got going on here? Yeah, a bunch of fucking dudes, and what the fuck are these dudes on horses doing? Let's just spray some fire over there on those guys on horses. What? Credit.
Yeah.
Boom. Like King Dead.
They kind of alluded to like, hey, so we took that one White Walker out and all of his little followers died. Why don't we just go after him? They're like,
why did not one of those 8 dudes down there that had been chilling there for a day and a half or whatever? Why did not one of them, like, Daenerys is like, come on up, and they're like, get him, get that guy right there. Like,
end it all now.
Not one of them. You want to know why?
End it all
Because this is
now.
the same girl that in the middle of a battlefield jumps down off her dragon and is like, oh shit, what the hell we got going on here? I'm a fucking doctor. I'm about to rip this spear right out of
no.
it.
Not only
in
is she
in the middle of the battlefield.
not only is she a doctor, she's a dragon doctor.
and fucking Jamie, terrible moment. I would hate for it to have worked out that way, but bravo to Jamie to go, you know what?
YOLO.
Let's try to end this shit right here. I might
Yeah, he
die,
went
but
for it.
We're going to end this right now.
He went balls out.
He did. That's my boy. Jamie's the man.
Meanwhile, the entire internet's completely making fun of him. Like, you fucking moron.
That is Jamie. That is my boy
Tyrion
Jamie
Lannister
right there.
said it himself. You fucking idiot.
He's like, yeah.
And meanwhile, fucking Jamie Lannister's like, Leroy Jenkins! Leroy Jenkins! Yeah, and did you see, I posted, did you see the meme where it's like all the gold medalists of Westeros? Like, javelin goes to the Night King, running goes to Gendry,
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
swimming goes to, was it Jaime or Braun?
Shit. Braun. It's got to go to Braun.
Diving
Yeah.
goes to
Diving goes to, was it?
Theon.
Yeah, Theon. Someone mentioned that diving should go to Tommen, but I was like, no, that's.
His landing wasn't as good.
No, I said no. That's children's free fall. Wrong. Oh. I gotta say, the memes have been so on point this season. So on point.
I think you posted the one of Jorah and Jon standing there and like,
Oh,
make
yeah,
sure
with-
you treat her well.
With Longclaw.
Yeah, my love will always burn for her. And John's like, are we still talking about the sword? He's like, yeah, just 2 dudes talking about a sword.
Yep. Just 2 dudes talking about the sword.
All right, so what was your favorite scene?
Oh, Jesus. There were so many because, I mean, we've already pretty much talked about them all. Like the Spoils of War ending, that just the dragon emerging, like that alone. Holy wow.
The like almost inevitable. Like you knew the moment Viserion went down, you're like, oh no.
Oh yeah, because I mean I've already been looking up theories about the ice dragon and the possibility of
when
the
they were
Night
starting
King.
to, when they had the chains, I was like, oh.
Yeah, as soon as he went down.
Right now, this just happened 10 minutes ago. I haven't
Yeah,
recovered yet.
exactly.
And you're already
They're
doing this?
pulling him up, and he gets blue eyes.
It was hard. It was rough.
He gets his blue eyes white dragon. I called it though the other day.
Bravo. You called 7.5 seasons in that was going to happen.
No, I called something else. Oh, anyway. No, I called it the other day. I was telling him, I was like, the next time we're gonna see that ice dragon, it's either gonna be next season. We're not gonna see it all next episode.
The last one.
I was thinking, the way I was talking about it, I was like, we still got like 5 episodes left. We're not gonna see it the rest of the season. Yeah, 1 episode. But I was like, we're not gonna see it till next season when everything goes down, or that is going to be the last thing we see this season. And I was spot on. I did not like how it was animated at first because it just kind of like bolted in.
I thought, yeah, that's
I was
the
like,
only thing
that's
I
so
didn't like.
cheesy.
Yeah, that was a little too much.
And,
That one thing.
I mean, they
could've made it a little
they couldn't afford Ghost this season. Or
where the fuck did
or
Ghost
Nymeria.
go?
What is it? Nymeria?
Yeah, Nymeria was only there for a second.
Yeah, and like, oh yeah, there's that meme.
Yeah. Arya's like, "What's up, dog?" And Nymearia's like,
No budget.
like, later.
No budget. Bye.
Oh, that's good.
Peace.
Sorry. God. damn, I
Those
didn't see that one.
dragons, they had a lot of spotlight this
They
season.
did. Well, I mean, you'd almost expect at this point because that's almost like the selling point for, they've been saying the last few seasons, like, she's over there, she's got dragons. Like, she's across the sea, she's got dragons.
That coming.
You remember what happened all those years ago, 300 years ago?
Dragons
they
are
took
coming.
Westeros with dragons.
Grumpkins. That's all it is.
And then it was cool that we got to see some of the skeletal remains of the dragons that were in the dragon's pit.
Oh yeah,
because they say that like
they got smaller over time,
they
right?
got smaller because they were caged up and they weren't allowed to free roam, and then they got like to the size of dogs or whatever.
Yep. And the last ones were just tiny little.
I've talked to you about this. What did you think of Aegon's dragon's skull? That thing was massive.
It was massive.
And she just fucking puts a hole in it. I'm like, fuck you, Cersei Lannister. Fuck you for desecrating that fucking beautiful, magnificent skull.
The woman who is perfectly fine with everybody in the entire continent dying, so long as she's alive. I expect nothing of her. I've hated Cersei forever.
Yeah.
Never liked her.
Now, one of my favorite scenes was actually like the scene where Jaime left.
Yeah,
that was one of the best because that's something that's.
I do want to touch on that.
I was so frightened when he told her to do it if she's gonna do it, and she nodded, and you heard the mountain ripping his sword out. I was like, no fucking way. There's no way this is happening. But I want to touch on this. I've been hoping, especially from reading the books. That's the one thing I really been hoping for. One of my favorite storylines is Jaime's arc of kind of, in the first couple pages, in the very first episode, he pushes a kid out a window. And you're just like, what the fuck?
The things I do for love.
Ned Stark, the best guy in the world. You're like, Jaime is the biggest piece of shit.
Yeah.
And his arc is just so fucking awesome in the books. They've been doing a pretty good job in the show.
Oh, yeah.
And that needs to end with him not going along with Cersei's bullshit. And I'm so excited that they finally decided to make it happen.
The Queen Slayer, he will happen. He will rise.
I've always enjoyed the character because he's such a complex person. He's always had one downfall, and that's it, and that's who he loves.
Absolutely.
And that's something that almost everybody can relate to, even like being in a very like not healthy relationship with somebody.
Oh yeah.
But then you care so much for that person that no matter like what they're doing or whether or not you agree with it, sometimes you just go along with it because you're kind of afraid of what life would be like without them.
Oh yeah.
And so for him to go along with it and him just kind of accept it for a while, and then the scene when Daenerys and Jon and everybody bring in a white to show them like this is what's coming.
Oh yeah, his face.
It really like that scene made it kind of like pushed Jaime to a certain point.
What you would hope for in the magical world is they go there and they present it and everyone goes, "Yep,
okay,
that is the biggest problem. Let's work together." And Jaime, the most reasonable fucking dude, does just that. He's like, "Okay, I knew for damn sure that we were not going to beat you. There's no way that we were going to beat you in battle. You want a truce so that we can go fight something that is absolutely an existential threat. Like, I'm down for it." And then to see that Cersei was going to keep lying. She was going to keep lying and keep being deceitful is just like the final straw. It's beautiful. I loved seeing Jaime just lose it. He's like, just fucking kill me then. If that's what that's what you're going to do it. But I'm not going along with this shit anymore.
And she like kind of calls his bluff a little bit, saying like, I will do it, I'll do it if I have to. I have your child now. I don't need anyone else. And he goes, then
he says, we're all that's left. And she goes, there's one more.
Exactly, yeah. So she's calling his bluff. And then, of course, like you said, Nick, when he ends up, like, the mountain pulls a sword out, I was like, oh, shit.
Yeah.
And then he's like, I don't believe you, and just kind of marches past him. And then she kind of runs after him for a second, and then she stops. But the one part that I really liked is that really seals it is him riding out of King's Landing,
right?
To keep his promise, and then like the snow is falling.
That was such a beautiful scene
because that signifies
that
winter is
winter is here.
I thought that was it. It was him leaving King's Landing, which is pretty far down on the continent.
Oh yeah.
And seeing the snow, you're like, that is exactly how this is supposed to end.
Yeah, like he is completely right for doing this because that shows it's coming. It's coming.
You're
and
right. You
it's
made
here.
the right decision because it's here.
And what's going to be cool in the next season is when like they're expecting the Lannister forces to march north, and it's just him.
Right.
Hey guys.
But that's going to speak volumes, like, and maybe change their minds a little bit. Like maybe they're going to be like, oh, we still don't like this guy. He's still pushed Bran out the window. He's still Jaime Lannister. But then he alone, maybe with some bannermen, maybe with some people who trust him and want to go. Maybe Bronn, I don't know. But like they ride with him, and he's like, I'm here. My sister's not coming. She's a fuckhead. I'm here to keep my promise.
Yeah.
Right.
And so that's gonna that speaks volumes again about Jaime's metamorphosis as a character from the beginning to this point.
Right. Absolutely. And I wonder, how far, because they brought this up a lot this season, is how the small folk react to all the fucking politics going on, and what happens when word gets out.
Yeah.
We made a deal with the rest of the people in this country to go and fight this threat, and I, Jaime, am gonna go and uphold our word. And this bitch who has never done anything good for you guys ever, and who just keeps killing people, show with her if you want. Like, I just don't see. She has no allies. The only ally she's got is maybe Euron. And whatever sellsword company he brings back with him.
The Golden Company.
Which doesn't hold as much significance in the show as it does in the books.
No, that's why that's why I had to mention it by name, because it's been mentioned many times throughout the series on the show.
Mm-hmm.
But now they're coming.
Yeah.
Now they're coming. And they're okay.
Do you think Dario will be with him?
Oh, but he's... Oh, yeah. He's the second sons, but I don't know. It's possible.
Was he left to rule? I don't know why the fuck you would have him rule.
Yeah.
Kind of,
well, he's there to oversee, I guess.
Yeah. But that could be an interesting
dynamic with the fact that the whole season I call this the season of like expedited travel.
Absolutely.
Fast travel to the max.
Yeah, dude, because they've already explored everything, so yeah, and they're not over encumbered.
Right.
They've hit all their towns and checkpoints, so
But like it really seemed like in the past seasons, like, yeah, I'm traveling, and then it takes them like 4 episodes to get there. On here, it's like I'm leaving, and it's like, okay, I'm here.
Next scene.
And then it's like,
Next scene.
By the way, it's been like a month since I left, just so you know.
Yeah, we just pushed everything along a little bit. Don't you worry about it.
Get a raven to Daenerys. She's here the next morning.
Raven with a fucking Amazon Prime shirt on.
Yeah, no shit. I never even thought of that. Shit, Amazon Prime. Shout out. Not sponsored by. Get on it.
Now we've actually
The producers of the show really need to get on.
The Amazon
The
echoed
Amazon-
a couple dragons. Can I get next day delivery on these?
We've mentioned, but we actually haven't discussed the death of Littlefinger. Like we've started to talk about it, and then we tangented.
Oh yeah,
because we talked about in the finale how Littlefinger was trying to play the violin again for Sansa, and really turn her against Arya. But see, what's cool about this is that we definitely we saw the scene with Arya and Sansa where it got really tense, and we weren't really too sure what Arya was going to do, and it kind of played her off as like this villain now.
Yeah, like she's just totally unhinged.
Cold-hearted bitch that Arya is, as far as like she has her mission, and what she's going to do is she's going to do it. She no longer has that mental block of, oh, this might be like morally bad. You know, and she didn't care.
Mm-hmm.
Now we had that scene so that way it would sort of fool us, because we've almost been conditioned in this show to just expect the worst. There's very little happy endings in this show, or even in the story.
except this season.
Well, yeah, and we had quite a few of them.
There was so much payoff this season.
And this is one of them, because they end up doing the whole the thing where they had everybody like in like the hall, and you had Sansa and you had Bran sitting there, the sort of like lady and Lord of Winterfell. He says he's not Lord, but he's there either
He's here to talk shit.
to talk shit and bear witness. But
The ultimate witness,
right,
if anybody believes him.
so like we're led to believe that Sansa's actually gonna like turn on Arya right here in front of everybody and play a power card.
And I could see that coming. I was like, okay, she's gonna condemn Arya, and either imprison her or sends her to death, and she's gonna pull her fucking faceless man shit, kill about 5 guys, and escape.
I was sold on something going down of that nature until Sansa said the charges. And the moment Sansa said the charges, you knew there was no way Bran would let that happen. Because Bran is, in a sense, omniscient. Yeah. So if Sansa were to try and get one of their siblings killed, Bran would have been, no way. And right when she said, like, treason, I was like, it's about to flip. Like, they're about to flip this on Littlefinger.
Yeah, Bran would have calmly been like, she did not.
Yeah, Bran would not have, yeah. Wrong. Sansa, that's wrong.
You are wrong. Wrong.
Dude, like, I saw this video where they have, like, Bran just reacting.
Oh, yes, I saw that, too.
Did you see that?
It was like, Luke, search your feelings, you know it to be true. I am your father. Just silent.
Just staring.
And there was so many like milestone moments throughout cinematic history, and it's just Bran. And like one of them was like Forrest Gump, and what did Bran say? It was from the same exact scene. He's like, I don't really care about that. Something like, I think he was talking about like being Lord of Winterfell. I was like, that's not for me. It's just so apathetic.
Oh, man. But yeah, dude, they flipped that shit on Peter.
Yes,
I absolutely loved his reaction because
nailed it.
For the first time in his life, he is completely like taken aback. Like he didn't see it coming.
Even his people in the Vale, he's like, I demand travel to the Vale, and they're like,
nope.
Nah.
Cool,
that one like main guy, he's just like, no, no,
not.
Because they call him out for killing
Lady Liza Aaron.
Eliza.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then like pushing her through the moon door, and he's like, I did that to protect you, so he's admitted fault to it right then and there.
Yes,
he didn't know exactly how to answer to that, and then you have like Bran over there just laying down all these truths and putting he's like, you put a knife to Ned Stark's neck,
and he immediately turns around and is like, whoa. How do you know that?
Yeah, then he quoted.
But he's already been hit with it.
Yes.
He got hit by it when he gave him the
chaos
knife.
Is a ladder.
He said the chaos is a ladder. So Littlefinger, if there was one, I said it earlier, if that was the one fault he made in the entire series, was right then. The moment he heard that line said back to him, that's his line. He said it himself. He should have been like, because he knew, he had heard from somebody what Bran was now.
Yes.
He had the idea. Mm-hmm. He just needed to see it for himself. He saw it. You better think of a better plan, bud. You're not going to be able to lie to these people. You're not going. You found out the extent of Bran's knowledge.
And what's cool is that what we don't see is, and what isn't presented to us, is the conversation either between Sansa, Arya, and Bran, or in a combination of, where we had that scene where Arya and Sansa got really tense, and Arya, suggested, "Hey, I found this note. What the hell? What are you gonna betray Jon? All this crap. By the way, try me. I'll kill you and become you." Laying down all this, all this shit. Like, and then Sansa is actually pretty legitimately like, okay, what's going on here? And then I honestly think Sansa started picking up on it with that last scene from Littlefinger. And what we don't see is either her talking to Arya again, and then also talking to Bran, and then Bran kind of, because we always wonder, like, why is Bran just sitting there stoically by the tree in his little quarters, not saying anything to anybody? And honestly, I think this is like with that great power comes great responsibility crap, where he has to be careful what he says and who he says it and when he says it, because if you say too much to the wrong person or to the right person at the wrong time, then
he becomes Barry Allen and he fucks up the whole timeline.
Exactly. He could really just mess up somebody's day and really just change
he could Hodor you.
Exactly.
He could Hodor you at any time in your past.
But
no one knows what Bran did to Hodor except Mira, maybe.
Yeah.
And she's like, I am out.
Peace. Gone.
And he's just like, it's like, are you gonna say anything?
Oh,
I don't
silence.
care about that.
I don't care about that. Just like, do I mean nothing to you? I say, my brother died so you could live, and
So we know that Jon's coming to Winterfell with Daenerys. They're sailing there, and while the common people are probably going to be like untrusting of the Targaryen fleet and of the joined forces, we were getting hints that maybe there was some dissension within the lords in the north.
Yes.
With Jon being gone so long and not writing. How dare you? Why haven't I heard from you, my love? All this kind of stuff.
And now he's bent the knee.
And then he has bent the knee, but then so we're led to believe that there's going to be this big like confrontation when this comes, and we can still get that. But we were also like led to believe that there's going to be some sort of power struggle within Winterfell that leads to this whole dynamic. And then at the end, it's like, no, things have calmed down. You know, common sense prevailed with Sansa, and she didn't go off the hinge. You know, like with the whole Arya situation, she took out the cancer that was Littlefinger, and now when Jon gets there, there's still probably going to be some like question, but hopefully there isn't as much of a confrontation as far as like the people who are in power and have control.
Especially since Bran's getting ready to tell him that he's not like it'll go something like that, like they're talking about him being king in the north, and then Brandon go, guys, he's not the king in the north. He's the fucking king. So maybe we should all just, what are you talking about? Like, everyone sit down. We're gonna do this one more time.
Yeah, so it was really cool because we actually got the full-on confirmation with the conversation with Sam that we alluded to earlier with Bran, where Bran didn't do his homework. He pretty much he looked at that page in the book and kind of like looked at the cliff notes and went, all right, change the page, you know. So he actually thought that
he was still a bastard.
That he was still a bastard, but he's from the south, so his name is Jon Sand. And that he knew who was his father. He knew it was Rhaegar. But then with Sam plugging in what he heard,
just the way he was narrating it, it was almost like he was writing the story himself. He's like, they got married.
Yeah, he was looking back.
They were in love.
There like, because Sam asked him. He's like, well, can you see anything to fucking
clarify
this? And he's like, okay, well, hold on.
Hold my beer.
Oh shit, dude! All right, this is what's going on. Hold on. Here we go.
he enters his green vision phase, just totally eyes rolled, just tripping.
So then he takes another look, which whereas he must just skim past it. Goes, you know what? This is not as important as the overall picture. But what that does is that with the wedding ceremony to Rhaegar and Lyanna proves that he didn't kidnap her, rape her. Robert's rebellion was all a lie. All of it. All the people who fought in that war and died.
Just hearing the sentence said finally, you're just like, God damn. Like the whole thing, all of this is just for what? For Lyanna not being honest? Like what, like, I don't know, it's so crazy.
We'll see, because Rhaegar was already married, and then he fell in love with Lyanna after he was married and had kids. And, they were betrothed, they were like told you're going to marry this person, and then she is going to be queen when you become king. It's all this arranged marriage crap. But then his heart fell in love with somebody else, he fell in love with Lyanna. So then he goes that route. And then we find out, like, the rest of the scene that we got to see some of last season with the reveal at the Tower of Joy, what Lyanna whispers to Ned, his name is Aegon Targaryen. Please protect him. So then Ned ends up taking little Aegon back with him as a lie, as his own bastard son, to protect him from Robert. Because if Robert found out, he'd kill him dead.
Before the Tower of Joy, they had already taken the throne, and Ned was with King Robert right after he had heard about him killing off all the rest of the Targaryens. So, which he didn't like anyway. It didn't matter about the stuff with Lyanna because that hadn't happened yet. Yeah. He was just like, you don't fucking kill kids, man. That's not what we do here.
Now,
Then he left.
So was that the order? Was that order given by Robert, or was it given by Tywin? Because I've heard that.
I believe they argue that it was given by Tywin, but
because it was the mountain that ended up killing Rhaegar's family, like that was still
Elia
and then
her child
as you see
Aegon.
in the first season is Robert absolutely okay with it.
Well, yes, of
And
course.
sends
Yeah.
the orders out. So it wasn't. It may not have the argument may not have necessarily been about who gave the order, but it is said that they got into a huge argument about it, and Ned left in a fury, like he is done several times.
Yes.
Then went to the Tower of Joy thing, discovered, holy shit! Now I've got this fucking Targaryen that my best friend in the world that I just fought a war for is my nephew, and I've got to take care of him now.
And how would Robert have reacted if he would have discovered that the next Targaryen, the only Targaryen left alive to their knowledge at the time, was in fact the son of his beloved?
To the man that he just disposed.
In that, not only was it forced, not only was it rape, it was consensual, and she never loved him to begin with. It would have totally ripped apart his entire mandate, if you will, if you want to talk about politics.
Yeah.
He would have not wanted anything to do with anything. It probably would have broke his spirit completely, and then there would have been a power struggle after that. He probably would have went home and just sat there and drank wine.
So Ned did yet another fucking shadowy honorable thing where
It's a completely.
where
It's not. Well, it was
acts
honorable.
like he's protecting.
It was completely selfless, and it completely shattered his
reputation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because it was the one thing on his record that didn't make sense. Everything he'd done his entire life, before and after, did not match up with the idea that he fathered a bastard. Didn't make any sense.
But then also during war, anybody who would question it, everyone's like, it's war, It was one night, they were having drinks, and he made a decision, and he had a woman, and so any man who has ever taken up arms or anything, they are like, well, even Ned Stark had a whore,
Right.
But then, and honestly, I think that's why Robert never questions it, because
Yeah.
all he had to, because we all know how much Robert drank, so I can just imagine on one night after a battle. They're chilling at a tavern somewhere that they placed that they're chilling out at, and then you have some all these girls hanging over him, and there's that one big titted bitch that he makes reference to who's maybe hanging on Ned. Ned just get out, come on.
Yeah.
And all Robert's going up there upstairs to get his rocks off, to let out his emotions or whatever, and then all he has to do is so where'd you get that bastard? And Ned's like, remember that one chick at the big titted bitch?
Right.
He would
Yeah.
totally be like that. He's like, I knew it. I knew.
There's a
something
conversation in season 1 they have. It's and he mentions it.
Riley.
Yeah.
Becca. No, that one was mine.
happened. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh,
I love the character of Robert.
Me too.
he was fun.
Didn't want to be king.
No, but more so,
Loved the extravagance that came along with it.
I loved the interaction with Ned, because Ned's the only person that can talk real to him.
Mm-hmm.
He surrounded himself with yes men, surrounded himself with all people that are bowing to him, and then when somebody says no to him and it's Ned, he acts like he's offended, and then he laughs it off I'm glad I got you here.
Right,
Someone can
damn.
fucking talk shit to me.
Needed someone to talk some sense into me.
Yeah, and I fucking love that. And of course, it's that whole decision that sets off this entire case of scenario for what the show and what the story is. But
And like they said, Baelish started it all.
Mhm.
Baelish is the
I
fucking
loved how they
asshole.
go through every little bit, and the dagger, and pitting the Starks and Lannisters against each other to
Yeah.
create the chaos for him to ascend the ladder.
Yep.
Because when there's nobody left, someone like him can seize power, and that's what he's done throughout his entire life. He was nobody. He was a peasant.
Yep.
I-
Didn't end well.
I was almost kind of bummed that they did that this season. I was hoping it would go on for at least one
I
more.
absolutely wish that they had done him better, because I think that in the books, it's gonna be so much different. His plan is so much more extravagant, and there's not gonna be any whole season in Winterfell bullshit. Baelish has a very, very good plan, and he's not gonna get knocked off like he.
To be fair, though, I actually do like how it just abruptly ends. For
Yeah,
him.
it's
Because-
cool. I
because
loved it.
It's almost kind of like what I liked about in Breaking Bad, when that one episode when all of a sudden everything changes.
Oh, yeah.
Shit's hit the fan, and it's more akin to real life. No matter how well you plan and don't.
Ozymandias?
Yeah. When Hank is dead and there's no coming back whatsoever.
Yep, we're done now.
There's no band-aids here. With Baelish, he's tried to play these strings, and finally it caught up to him. And then it's he's trying to talk himself out of it. You see he's panicking, and then Arya just with that dagger. It ends it, and it's like so quick and so over, and you're like,
damn.
You're just like sitting there almost recuperating for a second, not really too sure exactly what you just watched. And what you've seen is this mastermind manipulator taken down within minutes.
Because it doesn't feel right. It doesn't feel right that he had done such a good job. And I guess I just wasn't a big fan of this season's. Like, it was just really drawn out, I guess. Maybe if they'd have found a way to make it.
Well, because they really didn't go back to it, because usually with a longer length season, we get little bits. You get breaks of characters when you can put in a lot of development for Littlefinger here and there, and you see him interacting with people, and you see his cunningness. But then in this season, anytime you see him, he's always just like
just
looking around the corner.
Like he's trying to figure out what his game is.
Well, figure out what what his next move is now. And I think his next move, he finally figured it out, and it was, I need to eliminate the rest of the Starks, and I need to get Sansa, because she'll listen to me. He's like, okay, play her. I get Winterfell. I get the North with the Vale. He goes, and then that's a pliable means of going south eventually.
I think he was just numb at that point. His cunning had just dulled a little bit. It was like, dude.
Because things had worked out for so long.
They worked out for so long, but
he got tired of winning.
He lost,
he
lost his edge.
It's like you've been playing with Sansa for so long that she knows she's. You think that she views you as like a mentor, and it's like you're giving her all the tools to realize that you're the fucking bad guy here. Like, you're doing those things to her. It's just a matter of time until it caught up. And
now, an interesting note, to go back to Jon's real name of Aegon, Rhaegar's other son was named Aegon.
The one the mountain killed.
Yeah, the one the mountain killed was Aegon the Fourth. And so, like, there's been talk of, like, maybe in the books he's going to have a different name. But there's also talk that by the time that he was born, Lyanna had already heard wind of the Targaryen children dying. She'd already heard of Rhaegar dying, probably, because he died before they got to King's Landing. He died at the Battle of the Trident.
Right.
Yes.
So one would think, well, I'll name him after my love. I'll name him after Rhaegar. But then once, like, the kids were killed, like, Aegon is a family, obviously, name.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. It's also the same name as Aegon the Conqueror.
Exactly.
And Rhaegar spent a lot of his time delving into
the history
and lore, and he really thought that he was going to be the father of the prince that was promised.
And maybe he is.
So when it came down to this is the prince that was promised, well, why wouldn't his name be Aegon?
Now,
Aegon's always been the most powerful name of the family.
And so he would be Aegon the Fifth, if that is true. And now I read last night. I read this big theory about, and it's
it the one I sent?
Was it the one you sent?
What did I send? I think I sent it in the group chat. About Nissa?
Yes. It was about Nissa, about him being the prince that was promised, that would bring up the sword Lightbringer. And in order to forge Lightbringer, he would he had to kill his beloved.
Yes.
And so if the story is being replayed,
then Jon's gonna have to kill Daenerys.
Yeah.
Yes. And then that kind of works out because he's already the rightful heir to the throne. But then it doesn't work out because he's not gonna want to be.
And George has always said that he has an ending and it's bittersweet. He goes, all the best stories have a bittersweet ending to him. The ones that he likes, anyway. He's like...
Yeah.
I've read probably 30 of George Martin's other stories, short stories, and the good guys do not win. They do not win very often. And they may not necessarily lose. You know? I don't see the whole thing ending with a Night King takeover and boom, everybody's dead, what up? But I can totally see Jon or Daenerys, or both, having to sacrifice themselves in some way.
Now, what if Daenerys is pregnant?
Then the story continues.
The plot thickens.
I was about to say that.
Song.
Then 9 months is going to pass very quickly in 6 episodes.
But we know for damn sure that took...
Let's be real.
The Army of the Dead moves very slow.
They do.
It took them a really long time to get to the wall.
We'll see.
Unless they were pacing themselves, and they all just
get
over the wall, and they're like...
I think they were definitely pacing themselves.
All the living are on this side.
There's no more barriers. Let's just go.
Well, they ended up going like if you look at the map, like they ended up like taking the long way to go all the way to Eastwatch.
There's been a lot of argument about obviously who the Night King is, and
Possibly Bran.
they seem to think maybe.
Did you read that theory?
Oh yeah.
In extent and all I like it, but I don't think so.
I'm not ready to buy it yet.
I'm not either.
But there's lots of evidence to point to, that the Night King somehow did know what he was doing, and he did know that things were going to play out the way that they were. So, yeah, there's no reason to hurry. It's going to be 2 years before our dragon gets here, and that's what we need to get over the wall. So let's just fucking take our sweet time.
So, what episode in season 8 do you think that we lose Winterfell?
Oh shit.
Because the good guys are going to have to lose. They're going to have to get pushed back.
We just got Winterfell back.
I know, and that's going to be the heartbreaking thing is that...
But there's no way that there's no way that this big epic tale of these White Walkers breaking across the wall, there's no way it doesn't get past Winterfell.
Exactly.
It's gotta.
So, like, that's like the tale of, like, the ultimate, like when you, like, it's when you see, like, something iconic that you like that is maybe inanimate, like a ship in, like, a movie or, like, a sci-fi film. Like, I always say, like, man... When are they going to destroy the Millennium Falcon and tug at our heartstrings that way?
Right.
Because that's almost bigger than seeing Han die, is to see the Falcon die.
I'm wondering if there's much more symbolism than the wall falling. I feel like that's the big, the one thing that we're all like, well, they still got to get past that.
But then they've never, that they would say, well, no one's ever taken Winterfell. And then they, of course, at the Battle of the Bastards, they finally did to take it back. And we had this big whole plot I almost said plot hole, but this big plot to get Winterfell back, from the Boltons, and then to come here, and then the dead are coming. It's like they know they're not going to be able to hold it, but
right,
so
do they even try?
But I mean, so at a point, it's like but then again, they're going to have to fight. So it gets to a point of people are going to probably die. Some people are going to die. There's going to be this big battle, and then they're going to lose. And then it's going to be the feeling of hopelessness. We just lost Winterfell, and now we're getting pushed back south. How much more south can we go? What's next? What's our next stronghold?
Until we got to deal with Cersei.
Exactly.
Who is not coming around.
Who are going to get then pinched in the middle.
There's we talked about Jaime's arc. Like, there's no Cersei arc.
No, she's
not.
She just gets progressively more insane.
She's
and more
not
evil.
getting better. She's never gonna make the right decision.
The Mad Queen.
Yeah. Although the show's really different.
Yeah.
But I believe in leaked transcripts and bullshit from George himself. I'm pretty sure Cersei was on the list of people who make it. Like,
interesting.
Damn, dude. Like, why?
Well, she is a fan of torture. Maybe she'll end up in the cells. Like, she's done all that. She did that to the one chick from the Faith Militant. I don't know if she's dead or not, but she clearly got raped by the Mountain many times. Then she did it to Ilaria Sand. Like, that was wow. Like,
that Ilaria scene, that was
we're going to
perfect.
make sure that the torches are always burning so you can literally watch your daughter deteriorate.
Yep, no darkness for you.
Oh, my
shove
God.
the food down your throat.
Yeah.
That was pretty good.
Yeah.
I hated Ilaria. Didn't like her.
Mm-hmm.
Killed her entire fucking family. Like,
Yeah.
I'm just as bad about it as everyone there. Kinslayers are the worst. That's ridiculous.
Yeah.
For what? What fucking good did that do you, bitch?
It is so cool how, like, again, with, like, the foresight and bringing in stories that from the lore coming around in, like, into a circle with the whole, like, the Oberyn scene when he fights the Mountain, the guy that killed his nephew and nieces, of course, his nephew and niece, I'm sorry, because...
And his sister.
And then his sister, because they say that, like, the Mountain took the baby boy, smashed his head against the wall. And it's like the books are so much more, like, gory than the show can ever be, because the books are actually descriptive. You have to use your imagination to really envision everything.
Yeah.
And I've actually heard from somebody who is like, man, that's too much for me. Like, I tried reading it, and it's like they've seen some shit in real life, fighting overseas and shit. And it's like, dude, that makes me think of that. And it's like, I don't know, because you can watch it on TV or like stuff. He goes, oh, that's not fake, or that's not real, that's fake, It's all make believe. But then it was like when you're imagining it, when you're thinking about it, then
and you've got a really good idea of what something like that looks like.
Exactly.
It's just like,
yeah, then it starts bringing back images of your own like life, maybe like PTSD or something like that. But to see Oberyn then go crazy and start shouting accusation at Tywin. Because that's where like they come back to who gave the order to kill. Like he starts accusing Tywin of, you did this, he did this, and I just beat him. And then of course, how that ends for him. But
awful.
And then that goes back to like the good guy doesn't always win, because we see him in that moment as being like, he is the knight, he is vengeance,
Finally, there is justice in this fucking show. Oh my god, nope.
Face
okay,
crushed.
Great, awesome. Awful. They didn't have that many moments like that. I don't think. Like, I guess it's just because we're too close to the end. You just you got to expect certain things to happen. But like that Oberyn twist there,
oh man,
I had not read the books yet, so when I saw it, you had that. Yes, he fucking beat him, and then immediately just, oh my god, you ripped my heart out of my chest.
Oh my god! As soon as he grabbed him and he starts beating the shit out of him, like, oh, oh no!
Because then the next season was like the death of Jon.
Oh yeah.
Oh
And
yeah.
all that stuff.
Yeah. Which, speaking of that, I have a prediction for how the Daenerys Jon arriving at somewhere near Winterfell. I think it's going to go like this. They're going to arrive together. The North is already really not really for him going down there, and then to hear that he's bent the knee, they're going to give him some shitty looks.
Yeah.
He's going to find out that he is in fact a Targaryen to further his plot line. And of course, somebody, I think probably Lyanna Mormont's going to be like, hey, come quick! There's news of Benjen Stark. He's gonna go out and follow him. And then there's gonna be a bunch of people like, for the North.
Shut up with that bullshit.
Okay. For the North.
For the North.
If he
dead.
No.
Dead.
No.
Well, because he can't pass. Remember, he said I guess they always said they did.
And he saw him die.
Yeah. He killed. He took out like 2 of them before he got like.
Yeah, he didn't do a very good job defending himself.
I mean, the whole point was never to actually defend himself. He was just
hold him off for a moment.
Distraction.
Yep. I think the most shocking twist for me that I can recall for this season was when Highgarden got taken. I was not expecting that.
The how they gave up Casterly Rock.
Yep. How you're like, it did kind of look when they were like running through Casterly Rock. You're like, there's not nearly as many people as you think there would be. And then you see their ships getting destroyed, and the moment he starts asking, where are the Lannisters? You're like, where did they go? Like, where did they go?
Hard cut.
And hard cut, you see him doing it. They don't even show the battle. Just show him walking in after beating them. And then Jaime walks in, and she's like, hey. So, how did it happen? And Jaime's like, let me tell you how it happened.
No, he said how one would think.
Right.
How well did we fight? As well as could be expected.
Yeah.
He walks in and she goes, checkmate. And he's like, checkmate. I'm like, all right.
And then puts out the poison.
Here's your poison, bro.
Will there be pain? No, I made sure of it.
And then she immediately starts talking shit.
Well, she downs it.
Yeah, she downs it and starts talking shit.
By the way, that's good because, that poison that I gave your son, that I didn't know it was going to be like that. I didn't know the whole pink, the purple, and like the choking and gasping. Wasn't expecting that.
I didn't want to see it. I don't know how you guys handle things.
Yeah.
Anyway, yeah. Let her know. It was me.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Oh, and what's awesome is that, like, they're, like, with the whole Jaime storyline throughout this season, like, that's him going, damn it. And then he goes back to Honey, and then he doesn't tell her right away.
Right.
Not until after he secretly meets with Tyrion, who, like, and then Cersei's like, yeah, I'd let that happen. By the way, the fuck did you talk about? And he's like, what did you talk about with the guy that killed my son in our fight? He didn't kill Joffrey, all right? It was Olenna. Okay, he's like, he still killed our father. He goes, look, listen. He says he's got like something going on. Of course she would listen to him, you fucking bitch. And he's like, like she is just so mean to him. And
She's always been mean to him. It's fucking ridiculous. He's put up with it.
Yeah.
That pussy, man.
She's the nagging
and
girlfriend.
then we got the scene where it's like they're in bed, and then somebody knocks at the door. He's like, "What about what they see?" She goes, "I don't give a fuck."
Yeah, I'm a fucking queen,
We need
bitch.
some clean sheets.
Yeah.
Hey, we're gonna need some clean sheets. Wink. We fucked.
By the way, yes, I did fuck my brother.
Well, she got her body double back for that.
Yeah.
Right?
Righto. So back to you mentioned the whole scene between Tyrion and Jaime, them discussing the deal. Well, that brings me to the other almost death, which I totally could have expected when Tyrion goes to talk to Cersei. Like at that point, he was like, "Just go ahead and do it," and I was like, "He's gonna die right now, possibly." Like, because
Well, because he was calling her, and he's like, he's bluffing at that point. He's like, "I just do it." He goes, "You of all people in this world, you out of everybody want me dead. Here's your chance to do it."
yeah,
If you're really gonna be like this,
Yeah.
if you're really gonna just say to hell with everything, then here's your chance. Here's your chance to get exactly what you want. Do it.
that was a really cool scene. I like that scene a lot.
This season had with the bringing together of characters, especially those that haven't ever interacted, with how they film. It's like, hey, yeah, we work on the same show, but I've never seen that person in my life. You know?
A lot of them said that the only time they ever saw each other was at the red carpet.
Yeah, the red carpets, the premieres, and that stuff. Yeah, but it was really cool to finally get a lot of these interactions that you've been waiting for. You know, like the whole we got that in that one scene at the Dragon Pit. You had so many characters in one scene that you don't get that very often.
Which, I mean, we got that kind of sense at the end of Eastwatch, where we got all as Nick Torres put it, all the badasses of Westeros squatting up. You said, and then you go, I told you about what he said, and you go, Avengers Assemble.
The Westeros Suicide Squad.
Yeah,
The Fellowship.
the
Yeah,
Fellowship.
the Fellowship.
They're off to get a white. Yeah, like, so we have all these characters, like, they have had almost nothing to do with each other for most of the series, like Jorah, Gendry, and Jon Snow, the Hound, and those guys, but the Hound's been with Beric and what's his name? Thoros. He's been with them before, so that wasn't a big deal. And it's just all these different characters, and they're going beyond the wall, and then we get that whole thing minus Gendry because he just takes off. They're like, "Hey, go
And
run."
then he's not.
Yeah, he wasn't even in this episode.
He wasn't in the finale.
He wasn't not in the finale.
He'll come back around though. He's got to be hitting his hammer.
Oh yeah.
Make some dragon glass weapons.
Oh yeah.
And then you would think that since they have dragons, they can forge some Valyrian steel if they know anybody that can do that.
We'd never see it because it would jump past it. It would-
Episode 1, season 8. It's all like. Meanwhile, 2 years later.
Yeah, it'd be like a crazy montage of weapon making, and meanwhile, like the Night King, he just gets to the edge of Winterfell land and just decides to wait like he always does. And they're like, "Winter is here," and it's just like, "We got to make the weapons. Don't worry, he's waiting."
What for?
Wants it to be a somewhat fair fight.
Yeah.
He's totally Gokuing it up right now. Like he's letting you gather your force.
Gonna charge up for a couple
Yeah.
years.
He's charging that spirit bomb. Jon Snow is charging that spirit bomb.
Just puts his arms up. Just
Meanwhile, Night King is like, "Yeah, do it.
Do it.
Do
Come
it."
on.
fucking Night King.
I think season 8, it's gonna definitely start off with the fight against the White Walkers, but it's gonna end with Cersei. It's gonna end with the fight for the throne.
It's hard telling.
I think the heroes are going to get pincered in.
You're right.
Somewhere in the middle, where the dead are pushing them down, and then Cersei's marching north with what would you say, Golden Company is what they're called?
The Golden Company.
And so now they're going to have to try and make it, make a stand, and it's to me, when I think of that, I think of that scene with like when John is in the Battle of the Bastards and he's just like around all those dead people and he's just like,
oh yeah, when he's
God.
oh the battle at the end of Spoils of War where we finally see Cersei's Drogon completely take out, like Westeros finally sees the dragon. Huh?
You said Cersei's Drogon?
Oh fuck, Daenerys is Drogon.
Holy shit!
Oh my god.
What the hell is that damn...
Second dragon rider confirmed.
What?
And it's not John.
Terrible twist.
Terrible twist. John rides Ghost, who we haven't seen for a couple seasons. But no, so that scene, I compare that scene to the Battle of the Bastards because it was shot very similarly. Both the Battle of the Bastards and that scene took 30 days to shoot.
Yeah.
We had two very similar scenes where in Battle of the Bastards we have John wandering around aimlessly throughout the battle, kind of hitting some people here and there, but like everything's kind of it's just absolute chaos. I love the way all the camera shots were, and just it was chaos. And then you have this scene where they're like, Bronn, go to the Scorpion. and he's getting chased by this Dothraki warrior. Like, and you almost like, oh my God, is Bronn about to die? Because
the Dothraki warrior ends up cutting a leg off his horse.
Yeah,
right.
And he seems like he's doing his normal Bronn thing. Just for the first time ever, it looks so cowardly. Him running away.
Well, yeah,
but every other time it's like, ha, Bronn, he's such a clever fuck. And
Dick on.
Did you catch that thing they said to Podrick in the season finale episode?
Oh yeah.
Tyrion pops up, or no, Bronn interrupts Podrick and Tyrion, and he's like, go take your golden cock somewhere else, golden magical cock or something like that.
Oh yeah,
which calls back to the scenes, the scenes where they take him to the fucking brothel.
Yeah,
he's the best. Tell me more. I love the comic relief throughout this entire series has been just so on point.
So much cock talk.
I know.
And we're back to it.
Boom, full circle.
Podrick.
I like to think of it as an infinity because we started with it, and then we met in the middle talking about Spartacus, and and now we're back.
Infinity is based around cock.
In this conversation, yes. In this podcastrophe.
Boom. Might grow up.
And there we are, folks.
And that is now. We can keep going if we have more to talk about.
Dude, I'm not too sure how much more we can hit on.
I mean, are we gonna beat episode 1 in terms of time?
I don't know. I really don't know because I'm not sure there's much more I can say on this season.
Maybe we can revisit in a week or two after we rewatch some episodes, come up with some fresh ideas.
Yes.
Maybe take a note or two. We're just pulling at strings.
Yeah, pulling it straight from memory. I had Wikipedia open and then I turned my phone off.
Yeah, I was trying to keep up.
I know.
And figure more things out.
I asked some people last night via Snapchat. I was like, "Hey, what were your thoughts on the season finale of Game of Thrones?" I got one answer was it was lit. And I can't remember who said that, but somebody said it was lit. I'm like, right on, cool. I want like more detail. I asked Shane Reed of Only Human, and he says I haven't watched since season 2. I'm like, cool, Shane. And him and I got into an argument. He's like, it pissed me off. It's not like the books. And I'm like, it's a TV adaptation. It doesn't have to be like the books. And he's like, season 1 was like 4 pages off of the books.
Yeah, it was
like good. It was so close to the books. My friend Jennifer from work, she said she really enjoyed it. She threw in a theory. She's like, there was a meme, I don't know if you shared it, but it basically said it takes a death to bring life, and Daenerys, being she, lost one of her dragons, so maybe the death of her dragon will allow her to get pregnant. I think that witch from season 1 that was supposed to heal Drogo,
yes,
inadvertently killed, or not inadvertently, but killed her baby inside of her.
Absolutely.
Basically making everybody think, oh, she can't get pregnant ever again because of the magic.
John already alluded to the. Well, maybe the person you got that information from was very reliable.
She says since her dragon died, that there's magic and dragons. It's said many times throughout the series. Dragons and magic go hand in hand.
Are we referring to dragons as in Viserion who passed away, or Jon being a Targaryen and his penis being a dragon?
Oh,
gives her the magic.
I am the dragon, Viserys. God, I made fun of that so much when I watched him. But he said,
was
maybe
it disappointing? I'm sorry.
Okay.
But it was slightly disappointing to me because obviously until this point we've never seen a physical representation of Rhaegar.
Yeah,
and he looked exactly like Viserys.
Well, it
almost looked like the same actor.
It helps that Aerys and his wife were brother and sister. So,
but I mean,
sense.
like I've always envisioned like Rhaegar is supposed to be this badass.
Yep.
And I always envisioned him as this bigger, silver-haired, bulkier dude who can just kick somebody's fucking ass, and then
not
he's just
Viserion.
And exactly.
Viserys.
Yeah. But then when we see like the background, like the little like wedding scene with Lena, I'm like, wait a minute, is that the same actor that played?
Yeah, I wondered too. It looked just like him, and
it even sounded like him. And I'm like, oh, that's slightly disappointing.
My younger brother Logan, he had a review for it. He said, all I'm gonna say is he just banged his aunt, and that's not okay. And I said, yeah, they're totally Skywalkering the shit out of it. He goes, I believe
trope.
I'm like, that's way worse than the Skywalkers. They just kissed.
Makes me wonder, like, have I ever fucked someone who might be one of my aunts, or like,
have I?
How crazy is it?
Well,
how crazy is the world we're living in?
Well, I mean, if you think about it, even in regards to our own history, that's not entirely uncommon.
No, to keep bloodlines pure.
Well, I mean, not only that, but like even when you go to like aunts and like it's one thing for like brother and sister. But for aunts, there's like another level of like
degree of separation.
Yeah, I guess
genetic distance.
Yeah, so I mean, it's. I'm not sure if you're going to end up with webbed toes from that, but
I'm not trying to find out. I'm not the one on the ground doing the research. So.
In the field.
Yeah, I'm not.
I'm not even trying to Wikipedia that.
Nope. Not terribly interested in family fucking.
That's something you don't search without safe search.
No. None of us are a Paul.
Oh.
Have we mentioned that on Journey into Comics?
No, I don't think so.
Shall we mention it here?
Well, I mean,
it's irrelevant to Game of Thrones, so I'm just going to throw that out there.
If he's a Targaryen, then.
Oh, by the way, for those listening to this podcast episode, spoiler alert. I forgot to warn everybody at the very beginning. We just dove right into it. Just throwing that out there. There will be spoilers this episode.
Oh, God.
It didn't dawn on any of us, did it?
Well, because I figured this episode's going to be something called like Game of Thrones review or
season
review. It's like when you think about that, people are going to be like, "Are they going to review this with spoilers?"
Abso-fucking-lutely.
How do you not?
Yeah.
Because the most that you can say before you get the spoilers was whether or not you liked it or not.
That's not what we're doing here.
No. We're not going to spend 2 hours talking about, oh, yeah, I liked it.
This is what I liked about it without telling you what.
It was good compared to like other episodes in the series.
Like the one episode where the one guy did the one thing and then fucked the one chick. And then they brought him back. But then they killed him. And then that one guy, Yeah, spoiler alert.
That guy did.
Anyway, the Legend of Paul. He was a temporary. May his SIA career rest in peace.
He will be remembered. There's no way that we're going to forget a guy like that anytime soon.
Terrible human being. So he tells us that
day one
almost day one. Yeah, he tells us that he was on a date, or he
He was dating someone. He was dating this girl for like a couple months. And
Yeah.
okay, so he's dating her, and then she's like, hey, maybe I think it's time maybe you met my parents. And he's like, all right,
Yeah, he talks like this.
I guess I'd be all right. And so yeah, he goes over to her house, and he meets her mom, goes inside, meets her mom, and then looks out the window in the front yard or whatever, and he's like, what's my dad doing here? She goes, that's my dad.
And his defense was he didn't have a good relationship with his dad and never saw him.
And he got around a lot, apparently.
So
He has a lot of kids.
yeah, and so a couple months into a relationship or dating, you assume some uglies were bumped.
So, all right. So this is something that he revealed to us and then kind of got tired of hearing about because, number one, you're at work, okay?
In a factory.
We talk shit. That's like
A
all we.
lot.
That's like all we do.
Yeah.
Like that's like 95% of our day. The other 5% is making sure that we actually are doing what we're supposed to be doing. Unless you give 40%. I mean,
Yeah.
So that's a whole different level of math that I'm not going to go into. So he gets upset and he kind of gets defensive anytime anyone brings it up or whatever. And finally, this one kid that we have donned the name of Checkers. He is now Checkers.
Because there are people who play chess and there are people who play checkers.
Okay.
So he's one of those guys. Really cool kid,
Yeah.
but we had our fun with him. But the difference is that we actually kind of like this kid.
Yeah, and he took it like a champ, let's be honest. I mean, he got mad here and there, but overall he took it in good sport.
So real fast query: Did he stop dating this girl once the revelation of it being his
That
sister?
was never revealed.
Yeah,
We assumed.
Yeah, we assumed as such, but then Checkers ended up going and I heard about you. You the guy that dated his sister, and then he ends up saying you know what, my sister's fucking hot. I'm not even ashamed of it.
I forgot about that.
Bigger shovel here, take it.
So you guys just continued to just rail him about it. I'm sure.
Well, after that,
we
it was like,
we
oh
never
my
stopped. It got brought up almost daily, and then at some point we just all stopped talking to him.
You know,
'cause
he
we got-
confided in me when his favorite time to sleep with a woman was.
When he found out that they were related.
No, when they were on their period.
Oh,
That's-
I don't remember
Reminded
that.
me, it reminds me of a murder scene.
Yeah, he would
Oh.
say weird shit like that, and yeah,
He would fit in right in with some of these characters in Game of Thrones.
Oh yeah, he's a Bolton for sure. Yeah, he was fucking weird. Do you think we should name this episode "The Legend of Paul" and just it not even be anywhere in there until the very end, and it's just all these Game of Thrones spoilers?
Well, I mean, that's kind of a dickish move.
That's such a dongo thing.
Oh, I'm not gonna do that because I actually want the people that want to hear that
Yeah,
stuff.
this is
know
like a
that it's
little
there.
cool little I mean, this is like a sprinkle on the cupcake at this point.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a funny story. It's never been shared on any of our shows because I've never really felt the need to bring him up. He might have been joked about in passing on Game Addicts because Mike is on that show, and we do occasionally joke about something without going into detail on that show because that's not the focus. It's video games.
Yeah.
But I think it's the first time that his whole and that is just the summary. There's more.
I imagine.
There is so much more, but we don't have
A whole 2 or 3 months worth.
Yeah, we're not going to go into
No.
that. Maybe at a later date.
It's unnecessary
We can
currently.
come back and tell another funny story, but
I love how I started this podcast. This is episode 2, and we had a good first episode, and then so most podcasts would continue to keep it a broad, a broad audience. We literally episode 2 restricted it to Game of Thrones audience,
Well, I mean,
which is okay.
that's the listener's problem, not ours.
Yes.
boom.
So I guess I'm doing terrible at growing my fan base.
No,
no,
dude.
it's all good.
No, dude. I mean, you think about it. First episode of Journey into Comics, the next episode was 3 months later.
Yeah, true. when I thought about this episode, I wasn't even thinking about it being like, oh, there's only 2 episodes of Game of Thrones left. Like, once again, I was thinking, oh, they're gonna last the rest of this season. Oh, wait, it's
over.
That's literally next episode. No, I was thinking, oh, I'm gonna talk to Nick about doing a Game of Thrones season in review, thinking, oh, it's gonna be like 3 or 4 episodes into my podcast. No, it's literally episode 2, and I was like, that's
First
literally next
like
week.
A deep diving, inner look and perspective of podcasting. Episode 2, nerding out on Game of Thrones.
Yes.
Next time we're going to talk about why All That Remains fucking sucks.
Yeah, I talked about that with you.
Yes,
Remember, I was like, I actually do want to talk about, like, not just All That Remains, but just certain bands in general.
There we go. We can do a whole,
like
whole spiel about bands that were
their
okay
evolution.
at one point and then blew it. We
Like,
can all argue about.
I do want to go into, like, great detail about, like literally diving into a band, where they started, and as they go along per album cycle. That'd be really neat.
That sounds like a good episode.
Oh yeah. I definitely plan on that.
That's a good idea.
And you could easily do that with All That Remains. Easily, because every album is vastly different than the last, despite... And it gets gradually more radio rock.
Dude, spoilers.
Oh, yeah.
Spoilers for
Spoiler
people who
alert.
aren't totally up to date with All That Remains' discography.
Oh, yeah. All right, well...
If you haven't listened to All That Remains' discography, spoilers ahead.
Garth Brooks.
Barf Brooks.
Okay, so... what kind of scale do we want to go here? 1 to 10, 1 to 5.
Typically we go 1 to 5 for JIC. I think. Well, I don't know. It kind of varies because we typically go 1 to 5, and I'm like, BVS is a 7 out of 10. Just to clarify, I'm not saying it's that.
Do you want to do the what's that guy's name? I'm gonna refer to it as the meme scale, where perfect is 5 out of 7.
What?
If anybody gets that, please
Let us know.
Let us know, and I'll make that a scale. I'll create the scale, the official scale, where I actually divvy it up into.
We can
somehow.
go out of 5.
Okay, out of 5. So Brando, out of 5, what do you give Game of Thrones season 7?
A 4.
A 4?
I think it's a good 4. I think it told a good story. I do have a few problems with the pacings, but like with the pacing of the season. But I also
It can be forgiven, though, right?
I give it a pass in some cases because the plus end is that they have an ending, and they're working their way towards that. When you have a show that goes for 22 seasons and they're just meandering at that point, that is such a downer, because it's like at this point you're just throwing stuff at character to see what more you can do with them. With this, they have an ending and they're going for it. It just kind of like, when you get so far into it, they have to try and find a way to tell their story, and then when they're putting their final episodes together and like, all right, we got to work out the story and the arc to get here and there. So they're working towards it. They just had to speed up the pacing compared to what we're used to. So that was a little jarring. So maybe that's what brings it down for me. But overall, I felt the season was very enjoyable.
I would say it's one of my more enjoyable from the past couple.
Yeah.
Mainly because you can clearly see the end point that they're going towards.
Mm-hmm.
I would say a 4.
Solid 4?
4 to maybe just a little bit higher, if we're getting real into it. But
4.2. Gotcha.
maybe something like that. I would agree with the timing thing. I wish that some characters and plot points got more attention.
Yeah.
Wish that some did not. We already went into that. Mainly like the Winterfell line. Like I thought that the ending was very satisfying. I liked how they wrapped it up, but I wish they'd have spent a little less time on that. Maybe a little more time. Like I don't think they necessarily needed to skip the battle at Highgarden. Highgarden has played a huge role in a lot of things, in several different battles, and for them to just totally like, oh, they weren't very good fighters. Like, says who?
Says our budget.
Yeah, exactly. So, but yeah, I think it was very satisfying to finally see the dragons in action. It's cool to see. I went on for a while, I feel like, about Jaime, but I feel like they did a great job with his story arc and giving him the development he needed. I'm happy with the Jon Daenerys meeting. I don't necessarily
I don't agree with
I don't
what
necessarily agree
happened.
with the relationship thing. I think that was forced. Like, I remember reading reviews and stuff, and people were talking about their relationship when it was, like, just so not there. Like, I don't know what you're talking about. Like,
I kind of saw it a little bit.
I see it from the perspective of
not from episode 2, but
it
like
just needing to be the thing.
Yeah.
Who are the two main characters? They're gonna end up together. Just that mentality.
I can see the instant attraction though, because they're almost the same person. And,
Absolutely.
And so like how they go about things are obviously different, but what their goal is and how they give themselves and everything they have for what they fight for. They've never really met someone else like that before. So that like sometimes you hear about people and you're like, oh, okay, so you met this person, how's it go? It's like, we're gonna get married in like 3 weeks, and like, you have been dating for like a month,
right? Like,
what's wrong with you? In a way, I can sort of relate to that. Like, not to myself, but like I can relate those two things together in that way, where it's like, yes, it did happen very fast, but sometimes that does happen with very powerful characters,
especially when I think that they tried to totally throw it over the edge when she came and saved them and the dragon died. And that I do get. Mm-hmm. I do get that was like a very bonding moment. But, yeah, shit, we could probably talk about that for a long time too. But we don't necessarily need to.
No.
I'm happy with it. I'm satisfied.
Yeah. I'm going to go ahead and give it a 4.5. Because the pacing was weird. The quick travel was weird. But it made sense for where they're at and what's all going on. There's so much going on. We don't have time for drawn out character development.
Most of it's already done.
Yeah, and I'm gonna add, season 5, probably the worst season. It had a lot of great character development, but not as much.
It had one of the coolest episodes at that battle of
Hardhome.
At Hardhome.
Oh yeah, that was really awesome. Like I said, so much character development, not as much payoff. Mm-hmm. Where you move into season 6, where you still have that same pace almost of character development, but there was so much payoff, and there were so many good things happening around it. And then you get to season 7, and it's just, we are going full throttle into this shit. And so, yeah, I gave it, and everything else you guys have said, like, I'm not gonna go over and be like say the exact same shit. Yeah, so like I give it a 4.5.
Awesome.
So here at Podcastrophe, we approve.
Yes.
Thumbs up.
So if that is all, Nick, do you have anything you would like to, plug along, get out to my listeners, the Journey into Comics listeners, anyone that's going to listen to this?
No. I'm not feeling like plugging much of anything right now.
All right.
Need to get some dinner in me first.
Yeah,
before
same.
I'm doing anything like that.
Brando, you got the usual plugs. Let's hear them.
Yeah, sure. I want to thank you guys for checking out this episode on the Journey to Comics Network. And please go to the website, check out all the shows that we have to offer. And, of course, if you're so inclined, go throw us a buck or two over at the Patreon. It helps us out. I want to thank Nick for backing us.
Yes, that is a new thing.
We actually, I threw Nate off with that during the first exclusive episode that goes up this Thursday.
Ooh.
We went back and we reviewed the Walking Dead issues 1 through 6, and did a comic club episode on that. And like he was in the middle of describing something, and I looked at my phone and went, and then I looked at I showed it to this camera, and he instantly threw him off. And we don't actually say it on there. We're just like, he's just like, oh, cool. Yeah, that's awesome. And I'm like, yeah, I figured that would throw you off a little bit. And he's like, I'm sorry, listeners, but yeah, that kind of threw me off. I said, we just got some good news, and that's why we leave it. But yeah, thank you so much, and thanks for everybody who ever wants to do that. I mean, like literally, we've done this for 150 episodes of Journey into Comics for free, and we will be glad to do so. But it would also help us out to throw a bone or two towards us and let us spread our love of podcasting to you guys. And we offer a wide array of shows now, and you know what, growing this was the next logical step, is to bring other people into this, just like we got brought into it as far as getting into podcasting. And it has worked because since we've been putting out like episodes of shows every day, we're getting hits every day, and we're getting more hits every day, and it's pretty cool.
Oh yeah,
hell yeah.
Totally happy to be part of it, man.
Yeah.
Same. Like I've mentioned so many times how proud I am to be part of this, to have been part of it. So, yeah, I'd like to drag this out just slightly more longer.
You want to plug something up?
Oh yeah. So, I was thinking, you guys have your sign off. Fill your brain with shit.
That is relatively new, but yes.
Yeah, but I've been wanting to, come up with my own, and I kind of came up with my own, and I found inspiration in a song that I heard about a month ago at the Doom Room, and I heard it for the first time, surprisingly, and it's by a band called Pizza Face. So it got me thinking, the meaning of the song. You ever have one of those days where you just look at your dick and you're just like, God damn, I look huge. I'm having a big dick day, and you just walk around like you are the absolute shit because you walk around, you're cocky.
Again,
you have this you in your brain, your fucking cock is just
man.
giant, and you are a winner that day.
Back to the cocks.
Yes, once
Full
again.
fucking circle.
So that being said, everybody, thank you for listening to Podcastrophe, and live each day like it's a big dick day. Bye, guys.
Woke up this morning with my dick in my hand. Girlie's to the right of me, just like I planned. It's gonna be a big dick day. 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 Big dick day. It's gonna be a big dick day. It's gonna be a big dick day.